My name is Jennifer, and I'm 32 years old. I work in a professional job, and my husband, Donnie, is 30. We got married 2 years ago. Donnie can seem a bit unreliable, but he's a kind person and is good at handling housework. I'm focused on my career and enjoy the work I do. I work in the New York area, where hard work is recognized. However, the company may ask me to move to different locations, and there's no maternity leave or support for parents. Many women leave the company when they get married or have kids. At first, I didn't want to get married or have children because I preferred my job over housework. When Donnie proposed, I turned him down because I liked my job. I was already a section chief and wanted to climb higher in my career. I didn't think about settling down or having kids, but Donnie understood and promised we would share the housework and not have kids for a while. Eventually, I agreed to marry him because of his patience and understanding. Now that we are married, we both work. Sometimes we don't split chores exactly as planned, but we help each other, and it works out well. My in-laws sometimes make annoying comments, like asking if I'll prioritize my home or have kids, but it's not a big problem because Donnie always supports me. Living with Donnie has been great, and I've learned to appreciate married life. Then, one day, my supervisor, the department manager, called me about a possible transfer to a new office. He said the new office was a regional branch, and I would return to headquarters in 2 years. If I did well, I could be promoted to section chief at the new location, and even become the first female department head when I returned. It was a good opportunity. In my company, everyone who becomes a department manager or higher has had to go through a transfer. If you refuse a transfer, you could stay as a section chief or even be moved to an unimportant position. Before I got married, I would have accepted the transfer offer without thinking twice, but now, as a married woman, I felt unsure. I told my department manager, "Thank you for considering me. I'd like to think about it positively, but since it involves moving, I'd like to talk to my husband first. Can I get back to you after that?" He understood and said, "Right, you're married. You can decide whether to go alone or move with your family. Discuss it and let me know." I'm hoping for a positive answer. When I got home, I talked to Donnie about the offer. I explained, "I've been offered a transfer. I might have to move to the countryside, but if I do well for 2 years, I can return here and get promoted. I want to accept the offer, but I need to know if you're okay with it. We can either move together, or I can go alone. What do you think?" Donnie seemed surprised at first, but after thinking for a moment, he said, "If you accept this transfer, your dream could come true, right? I can't move with you because of my job here, but don't worry about me, go for it." With Donnie's support, I told my company that I would go alone for the transfer. I started negotiating the terms, and the company agreed to cover my moving expenses. They also agreed to treat me as on duty when commuting back home from my new location, and they offered a good benefits package. With all these conditions, I decided to accept the transfer to the branch office. I officially received the transfer order and made plans to move to the countryside. I could rent a company apartment for a low price, so I decided to live there. On the day of the move, the movers had already taken my things, and Donnie came to see me off at the station. "Thanks for seeing me off," Donnie said. "I'll keep in touch regularly, and I'll try to visit as often as I can." "Yeah, I'll be waiting. Just don't overwork yourself since you're working remotely," I replied. "You too, take care," Donnie said as I left. And so, my life as a remote employee began. I planned to visit home during long holidays and slower weeks, but things at the branch office didn't go as expected. Right after I transferred, trouble started. Some employees didn't trust me just because I was a woman, and they wouldn't acknowledge me. I became the target of rumors, and my instructions were ignored. My phone calls weren't even transferred. Then, a serious mistake happened in a project a subordinate was handling, and they deliberately kept me out of it. The subordinate was shocked, and since I was their supervisor, it was my responsibility to fix it. I had to deal with the problem, apologize, recover the lost work, and improve relationships with the team. My supervisor saw I was overwhelmed and gave me some advice. He said, "I understand your struggle, because I've been through a transfer myself. It might feel unfair, but you can't just force people to see things your way. It's important to communicate well, understand others, and build connections with them." Taking my supervisor's advice, I worked on connecting with the people at the branch. I spent more time with them and joined the neighborhood association, which was part of the company's rental housing community. Soon, I found it hard to find personal time for myself, and I couldn't make it home to be with Donnie. I kept in touch with him, but after a few months of working remotely, It became harder to reach him by phone or text at night. I'm working late every day because work is tough, Donnie said. I was exhausted and often fell asleep early because of how busy I was. I didn't suspect anything and focused on my work. One time, during a long holiday when things were slow, I decided to visit home in New York. However, I couldn't reach Donnie by phone or text, so I went back to New York without telling him. When I opened the door to my house, something felt off. Then a woman I didn't recognize rushed to the door and said, "Oh, welcome back. If I knew you were coming early, I would have prepared." Both of us were shocked, and there was an awkward silence. The woman spoke first, asking, "Who are you?" I replied, "Who are you? This is my home. There must be a mistake. I live here." We argued, and then decided to step outside to check the house number. To my surprise, the nameplate on the door was the custom one I had ordered. The key still fit, so I said, "This is my house, I'm going in." The woman protested, but I ignored her and went inside. Once inside, I saw everything had changed. The curtains, furniture, and even the decorations were different. There was a framed photo of Donnie and the woman at a theme park in the living room. I saw mugs I'd never seen before in the kitchen, and in the bathroom, there were unfamiliar toothbrushes, skin products, and women's shampoo. The bed linens were new, and there were no traces of my things left in the wardrobe, only the woman's clothes. Donnie's things were hidden in a back room, like the woman had moved in and taken over. I was still in shock when I heard the front door open. "Hi, I'm home," Donnie said. "Lola, did you invite a friend over?" Seeing him, I was stunned. "Justin?" I asked. "Since when did you become Justin? Can you explain what's going on?" Donnie looked shocked and said, "What are you doing here?" I confronted him, asking, "What's going on? Why are you calling yourself Justin?" He hesitated, and then said, "Well, this man's real name is Donnie, and I'm Donnie's wife, Jennifer." The woman, Lola, interrupted, saying, "That's a lie, he told me he was divorced." Donnie then explained, "Well, Jennifer, when you didn't come home, I was lonely, so I casually signed up for a dating app and met Lola." I was confused. "So, Justin is your fake name on the dating app?" Donnie replied, "No, it's not that. I thought using my real name would cause problems, so I used a fake name but kept my last name the same." I asked, "And why did Lola lie about being divorced?" Lola replied, "On my dating profile, I said I had only ever gone to all-girls schools and never dated a man before. I was looking for someone serious about a relationship and marriage." I felt hurt by what Donnie said, so I lied about being divorced to Lola, and we started living together. "Why would you do that?" I asked. Donnie then tried to justify his actions. "It's your fault for always being away for work. It's natural for a man to want a woman. We've been living separate lives because of your job and all the overtime. I just wanted a warm home, with dinner ready when I came home." I was shocked by his confession. I had always thought he was understanding of my work, but this didn't make his actions right. "That doesn't excuse what you did," I told him. "What you did is horrible. If you wanted to be with someone else, you should have divorced me first. Why didn't you do the right thing?" Donnie replied, "I loved you both. I never planned on leaving either of you." I was furious. "After everything you've done, it's obvious I would find out when I came back. It's unbelievable you thought you could hide this from me." He tried to blame me. "It's your fault for breaking your promise and not coming back. If you just came home, I never would have cheated." Our argument turned into a shouting match, and the woman Donnie had been seeing stood there, pale, realizing she'd been tricked by a married man. The other woman finally realized she had been lied to, and said, "So it was all a lie? You made a fool of me. I'm leaving right now." Lola tried to leave, but Donnie tried to stop her. "Wait, it's not what you think," he said, but she pushed him away, saying, "Don't touch me with your filthy hands. I can't believe a word you say," and left for her parents' house. After everything that happened, I decided to get back at Donnie by gathering as much evidence as I could. Once I returned to my work assignment, I hired a private detective to look into Donnie's mistress. The detective found out that she was the daughter of an executive at one of Donnie's business partners. I had a lawyer send proof of the affair to both Donnie's family and the other woman's parents. When Donnie's family got the documents, he protested, saying he didn't want a divorce. I prepared myself for a long fight, even considering taking the case to court. The other woman's family contacted my lawyer, and we agreed to meet at their office. The other woman and her parents showed up and apologized to me, saying, "We're so sorry, even though we didn't know about it. Our daughter caused you so much trouble." The other woman and her parents explained that their daughter was very sheltered and naive. She had always dreamed of a more free and romantic love, so when she met my husband on a dating app, she didn't realize who he really was. She thought he was divorced and wanted to move in with him. Despite their warnings, she didn't listen and ran away from home to be with him. The other woman was devastated when she realized she had been the other woman in an affair and blamed herself. She was now seeing a therapist to cope. Her parents offered me a settlement of $50,000 and asked me to keep the matter private. I told them I would accept their apology on one condition: I was preparing for a divorce, but Donnie refused to agree to it. If they were willing to testify if the case went to trial, I would accept the settlement. They agreed to cooperate but didn't want a permanent record of this affair, so they asked if there was any other way to help punish Donnie. I realized that Donnie's workplace was a client of the other woman's family, and we decided to work together to teach him a lesson. His workplace would soon face issues because he had angered a powerful executive at one of their client companies. This would all be blamed on Donnie. Meanwhile, Donnie's parents, unaware of the situation, were trying to contact him, worried about why I wasn't answering their calls. They blamed me for not being home, saying I was too focused on my job. When Donnie confessed to them that he had cheated, his mother sided with him, blaming me for neglecting him. Donnie's parents kept calling and even showed up at my workplace, creating a scene. They told me to let Donnie go and stop standing in the way of his happiness with his lover. I told them I wanted a divorce, but Donnie was refusing. I also mentioned that the woman he had an affair with didn't want him back. When Donnie's parents realized their son had angered a major client, they quickly changed sides. They apologized to me, but I refused to forgive them. I told them to leave, and when they didn't, I had them escorted out by security. My company decided to sue Donnie's parents for business obstruction because of the scene they caused. After all that, I finally received my compensation from Donnie and got my divorce. The other woman's family also demanded compensation for the harm to their daughter's reputation and her therapy costs. With all the losses and debts from his mistakes, Donnie was struggling financially and couldn't quit his job. 2 years had passed since my assignment started. By the time everything was settled, I had successfully completed my assignment and was preparing to return to the main office. My hard work had paid off, and I had been promoted to department manager. If I hadn't taken that assignment, I might still be stuck in a loveless marriage. But I realized that someone like Donnie would have had an affair sooner or later, and I would have always clashed with his parents. Now, I've realized that I am better suited for work than family life, and I am incredibly fulfilled and happy.
The sound of shattering glass pierced the midnight silence, followed by my mother's muffled scream. I jolted upright in bed, my heart hammering against my ribs. Through the thin walls of our suburban home, their voices carried like thunder. "You're drunk, Mike. Give me the keys." Mom's voice trembled. "Don't tell me what to do, Rachel. I pay the bills in this house." I pressed my palms against my ears, but it didn't help. 3 years of this, 3 years of watching Mom bend to his will, of enduring his subtle cruelty, of pretending everything was fine. I'm Gianna, and this is the night everything changed. Heavy footsteps stomped up the stairs. I held my breath, praying he wouldn't stop at my door. He always seemed to know when I was awake, always had some cutting remark ready. The footsteps passed, and a door slammed somewhere down the hall. More crashes followed. Mom's pleading grew louder, more desperate. "Think about the girls, please. Just sleep it off." "The girls?" He laughed, a harsh, grating sound. "You mean your precious Sophia and that other one?" "That other one. That's what I'd become in my own home." I crept to my window, watching as Mike stumbled out the front door, keys jangling in his hand. Mom stood in the doorway, clutching her robe around her shoulders. The whiskey bottle in his grip caught the streetlight, gleaming like a warning. "Mike, please." Her voice cracked. He turned, swaying slightly. "You know what your problem is, Rachel? You're too soft on her. That's why she's turning out just like her father. Worthless." The word hit me like a physical blow. Dad had been gone 5 years, but Mike never missed a chance to tarnish his memory. I pressed my forehead against the cool glass, watching Mike climb into his truck. The engine roared to life. Mom disappeared inside, probably to check on Sophia, her perfect 14-year-old who could do no wrong. I remained at the window, counting the seconds until Mike's truck disappeared around the corner. 3 minutes later, the screech of tires split the night. Metal crunched against metal, followed by an explosion of breaking glass. Then silence, a different kind of silence than before, heavier, final. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing closer. I stood frozen, unable to move from my spot by the window. Red and blue lights began to flash against the houses down the street. Mom's footsteps pounded up the stairs. "Gianna!" She burst into my room without knocking. "Did you call them? Did you call the police?" I shook my head, still staring out the window. "No." Her hand gripped my shoulder, fingers digging in. "If anyone asks, he was fine when he left. Do you understand? He was completely sober." I turned to face her, really looking at her for the first time in years. Her mascara had run, leaving dark tracks down her cheeks, but her eyes were hard, calculating. "Mom, what are you—" "Promise me, Gianna." Her nails bit deeper. "Promise me you'll say he was sober." In that moment, I saw something shift in her eyes, something cold and foreign. This wasn't about protecting Mike. This was about protecting herself, her perfect little world with Sophia. I was just a loose end that needed tying up. "I promise," I whispered, the lie bitter on my tongue. She released my shoulder and hurried out, already on her phone. I touched the spots where her nails had left marks, knowing they would bruise. Just like everything else in this house, the truth would be hidden, covered up, denied. But as I watched the emergency lights paint our neighborhood in alternating red and blue, something hardened inside me. This was the moment, the last time I would let them bury their secrets at my expense. They had no idea what they'd just created. The sirens grew louder, and I smiled. 3 days after Mike's accident, I stood in our kitchen, watching Mom arrange finger sandwiches on a silver platter. Her hands moved with mechanical precision, each triangle perfectly aligned. The house smelled of lemon polish and fresh-baked cookies, her armor against gossip and judgment. "The police called again," I said, testing the waters. She didn't look up. "I handled it." Of course she had. Just like she'd handled the whiskey bottle that mysteriously vanished from the crash site. Just like she'd handled the neighbors' questions with practiced tears and calculated grief. The doorbell chimed. Mom straightened, smoothing invisible wrinkles from her black dress. "Remember what we discussed?" "He was completely sober," I echoed, the words acid in my mouth. Grandmother Nancy swept in first, her silver hair immaculate despite the August heat. Behind her, Grandfather Henry carried a casserole dish, his engineer's eyes taking in every detail of our pristine kitchen. "Rachel, darling." Nancy embraced Mom, their perfumes clashing in a suffocating cloud. "How are you holding up?" "As well as can be expected." Mom's voice cracked perfectly. I stood back, watching the performance. Henry caught my eye and gave me a slight nod, the only acknowledgement I'd get. Once, he'd been different. Once, he'd taught me chess and physics and how to fix a carburetor. But that was before Mike, before Mom's careful redesign of our family dynamics. "Sophia's upstairs," Mom said. "Probably needs help with her dress." Nancy hurried up to assist the favorite grandchild, while Henry busied himself arranging chairs for the wake. I moved to help him, but Mom's hand shot out, gripping my wrist. "The police report comes out tomorrow," she whispered. "If anyone asks." "I know, Mom, I know." She released me, leaving red marks on my skin. "Good girl." The house filled quickly with mourners. Mike's co-workers, church friends, neighbors. They moved in circles, murmuring practiced condolences between bites of those perfect sandwiches. I drifted between groups, catching fragments of conversation. "Such a tragedy." Never saw him drink before. Poor Rachel, left alone again. Sophia floated down the stairs in a new black dress, Nancy hovering protectively. My sister's eyes were red and puffy, genuine grief for the only father she'd ever known. She didn't understand yet. She hadn't seen the truth behind his gentle smiles and playful nicknames. Gianna. Henry appeared beside me, his voice low. A moment? We stepped onto the back porch, away from the performance inside. The August air pressed against us like a wool blanket. Your mother seems... He paused, choosing his words carefully. Composed. She's good at that. He studied me, lines deepening around his eyes. The police report will say exactly what she wants it to say. I met his gaze. Won't it? Something flickered across his face. Guilt, maybe, or recognition. He opened his mouth to respond, but Mom's voice cut through the screen door. Dad, could you help with the coffee service? He hesitated, then squeezed my shoulder. The gesture felt like an apology, though I wasn't sure for what. Not yet. Back inside, I found Mom in the kitchen, methodically loading a coffee tray. Her mascara remained perfect, not a single tear track marring her performance. The insurance adjuster called, she said, without looking up. They'll need statements from all of us. All of us? Yes. She finally met my eyes. And we need to be consistent, for Sophia's sake. There it was, the weapon she'd always wielded so effectively. For Sophia's sake, for the family's sake, for appearance's sake, always a greater good to justify the lies. What about for my sake? The words slipped out before I could stop them. She set down the coffee pot with deliberate care. Your sake? You're 17, Gianna. Almost an adult. Sophia's just 14. She needs stability, security. And what do I need? You need to understand your place in this family. Her voice hardened. And right now, that means supporting our story. Unless you want your sister to lose everything. The threat hung between us, clear as crystal. I thought of Sophia upstairs, innocent and grieving. I thought of the police report, the insurance money, the carefully constructed facade that would keep our comfortable life intact. I understand, I said, and watched relief flash across her face. She didn't realize I meant something entirely different. She didn't see that with each manipulation, each careful lie, she was teaching me exactly how to destroy her world. I smiled and picked up the coffee tray. I'll help serve the guests, Mom. After all, I'd learned from the best how to play a role. The bank statement sat on my desk like a loaded gun. I'd found it while searching for my birth certificate. Mom's idea of organization meant stuffing important papers into random drawers. But this wasn't just any statement. This was my college fund, the one Dad had set up before he died. The balance showed 0. My hands trembled as I traced the withdrawal history. Every month for the past 3 years, small amounts disappeared. Death by 1,000 cuts. The final withdrawal, $15,000, had been made 2 days after Mike's accident. A knock at my door made me jump. Gianna? Sophia's voice, sweet and unsuspecting. Mom wants to know if you're coming down for dinner. Not hungry. My voice sounded strange, distant. But we're celebrating. Mom got the insurance check today. Of course she did. The police report had worked its magic just as she'd planned. I folded the bank statement carefully, tucking it into my jacket pocket. Downstairs, laughter drifted from the dining room. I descended slowly, each step bringing their voices into sharper focus. And then we can finally renovate the kitchen, Mom was saying. Granite countertops, new appliances. I paused in the doorway. They looked like a perfect family tableau. Mom at the head of the table, Sophia beside her, sharing identical smiles. A bottle of expensive champagne sat open between them. Well, look who decided to join us. Mom's smile didn't quite reach her eyes. We're celebrating. I can see that. I remained standing, one hand touching the paper in my pocket. The insurance company made their decision? They did. She poured another glass of champagne. Everything's going to be fine now. Better than fine. Is that what the $15,000 was for? Making everything fine? The champagne glass froze halfway to her lips. Sophia looked between us, confusion clouding her features. What $15,000? She asked. Nothing, sweetie. Mom set down her glass with careful precision. Gianna, could we discuss this privately? Why? Isn't this a family celebration? I pulled out the bank statement. Let's celebrate how you've been stealing from my college fund for 3 years. Color drained from her face. That money was for emergencies, like kitchen renovations. What's going on? Sophia's voice trembled. Mom's mask slipped for just a moment, revealing something cold and calculating beneath. Gianna is upset about some financial decisions I had to make as her mother. Decisions she's too young to understand. I understand perfectly. The words felt like acid. You've been planning this since Mike died. The police report, the insurance claim, all of it. And my college fund was just collateral damage, right? You don't know what you're talking about. Her voice hardened. I've done everything to keep this family together. This isn't a family, it's a performance. Sophia burst into tears and ran upstairs. Mom's facade cracked completely, revealing raw fury beneath. How dare you? She stood, gripping the table. After everything I've sacrificed. Sacrificed? I laughed, a harsh sound that surprised even me. You sacrificed my future to cover up Mike's drunk driving. You sacrificed the truth to protect your reputation. The only thing you haven't sacrificed is your precious control. I did what I had to do. She stepped closer, lowering her voice. And if you think anyone will believe you over me, you're sadly mistaken. I'm still your legal guardian. That money was mine to manage. Was the whiskey bottle yours to hide too? She slapped me. The sound echoed in the sudden silence. My cheek burned, but something else burned hotter. Certainty. This moment had been coming for years, since the first time she chose appearances over truth. I'm sorry, she whispered, reaching for me. I didn't mean. I stepped back. Yes, you did. You always mean it. Every lie, every manipulation, every choice that protected you instead of me. But you made one mistake. What's that? Her voice was barely audible. I held up my phone, recording light blinking. You taught me too well. The color drained from her face as understanding dawned. I turned and walked away, her calls following me up the stairs. But I didn't stop, couldn't stop. The truth had momentum now, and I finally knew how to use it. In my room, I sent the recording to my email, then opened my laptop. The cursor blinked on a blank document, waiting. I began to type. The thing about perfect families is that they're built on perfect lies. Miss Lily's classroom felt different after hours, like a confessional booth without the pretense of absolution. I sat at my usual desk, the recorded conversation with Mom playing through my phone's tinny speaker. Each word felt sharper in the empty room. Your writing has always been honest, Miss Lily said when the recording ended. But this, she tapped her fingers against her desk, searching for words. This is something else entirely. It's evidence. I switched off the phone. I just don't know what to do with it yet. She studied me with that penetrating gaze that had first spotted my talent freshman year. Sometimes the most powerful stories aren't the ones we publish, Gianna. They're the ones we use to understand ourselves. I understand perfectly. My voice came out harder than intended. My mother stole my future to protect her lies. Did she? Miss Lily leaned forward. Or did she steal your past to protect her own? Before I could respond, footsteps echoed in the hallway. Through the classroom window, I glimpsed Rachel's perfectly styled hair, her designer handbag. My stomach dropped. "Hide," Miss Lily mouthed, gesturing toward the supply closet. I slipped inside just as Rachel entered, the scent of her expensive perfume preceding her. "Lily," Mom's voice dripped honey-coated venom. "We need to talk about Gianna's latest writing assignment." "Of course." Miss Lily's tone remained professional. Her piece about family secrets was quite compelling. It was inappropriate and potentially damaging. To whom? From my hiding spot, I could see through the slats in the closet door. Mom placed both hands on Miss Lily's desk, leaning forward. "You've been encouraging her, haven't you? Feeding this obsession with exposing private matters?" "I encourage all my students to write their truth." "Truth?" Mom laughed softly. "You want to talk about truth, Lily? Should we discuss why you really transferred to this school 3 years ago?" The air seemed to crystallize. Miss Lily's face went perfectly still. "That's not relevant, isn't it? A promising career at St. Margaret's, suddenly derailed by, what was it again? An inappropriate relationship with a student's parent?" My breath caught. Miss Lily's hands trembled slightly as she gathered some papers. "You should leave, Rachel." "I will, but first, you're going to stop encouraging my daughter's little revenge fantasy. Otherwise, certain old rumors might resurface." "Are you threatening me?" "I'm protecting my family." Mom straightened, adjusting her perfectly pressed blazer. "Something you wouldn't understand." She turned to leave, then paused at the door. "Oh, and Gianna, you can come out of the closet now." My blood froze. She'd known I was there the whole time. I stepped out, legs shaking. Miss Lily wouldn't meet my eyes. "Let's go home," Mom said. "We have a lot to discuss." "No?" The word surprised even me. She raised an eyebrow. "Excuse me?" I said no. I moved to stand beside Miss Lily's desk. "You can't keep silencing people with their secrets, can I?" She smiled, that terrible knowing smile. "Sweetheart, secrets are the only currency that matters. Ask your teacher." I turned to Miss Lily, hoping for, what? Support? Denial? But she just stared at her desk, defeated. "I'll see you at home," Mom said, victory in every syllable. She left, her heels clicking down the hallway like a countdown. The silence stretched between Miss Lily and me, filled with unspoken questions. "Is it true?" I finally asked. Not the way she implied. Miss Lily's voice was barely audible, but enough of it to matter. I nodded slowly, understanding blooming like a bruise. She's been collecting secrets, hasn't she? Not just mine, everyone's. "Gianna," she finally looked up, her eyes tired but determined. "Whatever you're planning, be careful. Your mother, she's better at this game than you know." I touched my phone, thinking of the recording, of my journal full of carefully documented lies. Maybe, but she taught me how to play it. Walking home, I felt something shift inside me. This wasn't just about my college fund anymore, or even Mike's accident. This was about every secret she'd used as a weapon, every truth she'd twisted to maintain control. I pulled out my phone and opened a new document. At the top, I typed, "A list of secrets that could burn everything down." Below that, I wrote the first entry. "My mother is a collector of other people's shame, and I'm about to become her curator." My blog post went live at midnight. By morning, the comments section exploded. I'd changed the names, twisted the details just enough to maintain plausible deniability, but anyone who knew our family would recognize the truth beneath the fiction. A daughter discovers her mother's secret vault of stolen futures. The words glowed on my screen, a digital match thrown onto carefully gathered kindling. My phone buzzed. Grandmother Nancy's number. I let it ring through to voicemail, then again and again. On the fourth call, I answered. Have you lost your mind? Her voice trembled. That story? People are talking, Gianna. Good. I kept my tone neutral. Stories are meant to be shared. Your mother called me in tears. She thinks she knows exactly what I'm doing. I watched a new comment appear. This reminds me of the Matthews family scandal. And so do you. The silence stretched between us like a tightrope. Finally, she whispered, You don't understand what you're risking. Actually, I do. Mom made that very clear when she threatened Miss Lily. A sharp intake of breath. What does Lily have to do with this? Why don't you ask Mom? She seems to know everyone's secrets. The doorbell rang downstairs. Through my bedroom window, I spotted Grandfather Henry's car in the driveway. We're coming over, Nancy said. Don't post anything else until we talk. I hung up and opened my laptop to the draft of my next story. The grandmother who watched in silence. My finger hovered over the publish button. Footsteps thundered up the stairs. Mom burst in without knocking, her face flushed. Take it down, now. Or what? I met her gaze. You'll threaten me like you threatened Miss Lily? You have no idea what you're doing. She gripped the door frame. The Matthews family. They're calling, asking questions about Mike's accident. Isn't that what you wanted? People asking questions? Not these questions. Her composure cracked. Not now, not when. When what? Nancy and Henry appeared behind her, both looking older than I'd ever seen them. Tell her, Henry said quietly. She needs to know. Mom's laugh held an edge of hysteria. Know what? That her little revenge fantasy could cost us everything? That the Matthews family lawyer is reviewing Mike's accident report? Rachel! Henry's voice carried a warning. I looked between them, sensing something deeper, darker. What aren't you telling me? Nothing. Mom straightened, mask sliding back into place. Just take down the post. No. I opened my phone's recording app. Not until you tell me what the Matthews family has to do with Mike's accident. The color drained from Mom's face. Nancy stepped forward, reaching for me. Sweetheart, some things are better left. He was having an affair, Henry cut in, with Janet Matthews. The room went silent. Mom's hands shook as she turned on him. Dad, don't. Mike was driving to Janet's house that night, he continued. That's why Rachel had to handle things. The pieces clicked together with sickening clarity. The missing whiskey bottle, the cleaned-up accident scene, the carefully crafted police report. You didn't just cover up his drunk driving, I said slowly. You covered up where he was going, who he was meeting. I protected this family. Mom's voice cracked. I protected you and Sophia from the truth. No, I stood, anger burning through my veins. You protected yourself, your reputation, your perfect little life. Gianna, please. Nancy reached for my laptop. Delete the post before. I snatched it away, backing toward my window. Before what? Before people realize everything in this family is built on lies? You want to talk about lies? Mom's eyes narrowed. Should we discuss your father's accident? The real reason he was driving that night. The threat in her voice made my blood run cold. What about my father? She smiled, that terrible knowing smile. Take down the post, Gianna, or the next story I tell might be about him. I looked at my grandparents, seeing the guilt in their eyes. More secrets, more lies, always more. My phone buzzed with another comment notification. This story feels familiar. Wasn't there another accident 5 years ago? I turned back to my laptop and clicked publish on the second post. Let them all burn. No more silence, I said. No more secrets. Mom's face hardened into something I didn't recognize. Then let the truth destroy us all. The school library hummed with whispers as I walked in. Conversations stopped, then resumed in hushed tones. My blog posts had done their work. Everyone knew, or thought they knew, the truth about my family. Janet Matthews sat at a corner table, her designer handbag placed precisely beside her coffee cup. She looked up as I approached, her perfectly manicured fingers drumming against the table's surface. "You're braver than I expected," she said. I slid into the chair across from her. "Or more desperate. Your mother called me last night." Janet's lips curved into a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "She had quite an interesting theory about why you're doing this." "I'm sure she did. She mentioned your father's accident." Janet leaned forward. "Said you might be interested in certain details." My heart stuttered, but I kept my face neutral. "What details?" "The kind that could destroy more than just your mother's reputation." She pulled out a manila envelope. "The kind that make your stepfather's indiscretions seem almost innocent in comparison." Before I could respond, Sophia appeared between the bookshelves, her face tear-stained. "Is it true? About Dad, Mike, and Mrs. Matthews?" The envelope suddenly felt like a live wire between us. Janet's smile widened fractionally. "Sophia," I started. "Don't." My sister's voice cracked. "Just don't. Mom told me everything. About your blog, your recordings, how you're trying to hurt us because you're jealous. That's not—" She showed me the letter. Sophia's words hit like physical blows. The one from Dad, our real dad, about why he was really driving that night, about what you did. The room tilted sideways. "What letter?" Janet slid the envelope closer. "Perhaps you should read it yourself." My hands shook as I opened it. The paper inside was aged, the handwriting achingly familiar. "Rachel, I can't keep covering for her. The drinking, the pills, the nights she disappears. She's 17, just like Gianna is now. If anything happens to her, it'll be my fault for enabling this. I'm driving out to look for her again. If you're reading this—" The date, the night of his accident, the night he died looking for me. "No." I pushed back from the table. "This isn't—" "She's lying." "Mom said you'd say that." Sophia wiped her eyes. "She said you've been lying so long, you probably believe your own stories." Janet gathered her things with deliberate slowness. "Quite the twist, isn't it? The storyteller becoming the villain of her own tale." Students watched as I stumbled toward the exit. Their whispers followed like shadows. "Heard she was high when her dad crashed." "Makes sense why her mom remarried so fast." "Probably made up everything about Mike, too." Miss Lily caught my arm in the hallway. "Gianna, wait." I jerked away. "Did you know about the letter? Your mother showed it to me this morning." Her eyes held something worse than pity, understanding. "She said if I didn't distance myself from you, she'd make sure everyone knew about my past, and yours." The walls closed in, everything I'd written, every secret I'd exposed, every weapon I'd crafted. Mom had turned them all back on me. She'd been playing a longer game, waiting for the perfect moment to reveal her trump card. My phone buzzed with notifications. The comments on my blog had shifted. "Sounds like someone's projecting their own guilt." "Maybe we should hear the mother's side." Starting to question everything she wrote. Sophia's voice echoed down the hall. "I hate you for what you did to Dad." I ran, past the whispers, past the stairs, past the carefully constructed web of truth and lies until I reached the parking lot. Rain fell in sheets, soaking through my clothes as I gasped for air. My phone lit up with a text from Mom. "Come home when you're ready to tell the truth. All of it." The truth. What was truth anymore? Every story had multiple versions, every memory its dark twin. Had I been so focused on exposing others' lies that I'd buried my own? I opened my blog dashboard with trembling fingers. Every post, every carefully crafted revelation, now read like a confession of a different kind. My finger hovered over the delete button. Behind me, Janet's car pulled out of the parking lot. Through the rain-streaked window, I caught a glimpse of her speaking on the phone, probably to Mom. They'd orchestrated this perfectly. The public revelation, Sophia's appearance, the letter. I'd thought I was the spider, weaving a web to trap them all. But I'd been the fly all along. Grandfather Henry's study smelled of old books and betrayal. He sat behind his desk, hands trembling as he pulled out a weathered shoebox. Nancy stood by the window, her reflection fractured in the rain-streaked glass. "We should have told you years ago," Henry said, placing the box between us. Inside lay a stack of letters, photographs, and a small leather diary. My father's handwriting jumped out from yellowed pages, not just the single letter Mom had used against me, but dozens more. "Your father wasn't looking for you that night." Henry's voice cracked. He was running from what he'd discovered about Rachel. Nancy turned sharply. "Henry, don't. She deserves the truth, all of it." The study door opened. Mom stood there, still wearing her work clothes, her face a mask of controlled fury. "What truth would that be, Dad?" "The one you buried with David." He pulled out a photograph. "Along with this." The image showed Mom outside a motel, arguing with a man I didn't recognize. The date stamp read 1 week before Dad's accident. "You were blackmailing him," Henry said, "just like you've blackmailed everyone else. David found out, didn't he?" Mom's laugh held no humor. "Is that what you think happened? I think you're still doing it." I stood, anger burning through my uncertainty. "Miss Lily, Janet Matthews, probably half the town. You collect secrets like weapons. I protect this family." She stepped into the room. "Everything I've done was for yourself." I grabbed the photograph. "Dad knew. That's why he died. Because he knew what you really were." "Knew what?" Her voice dropped dangerously. "That I was cleaning up your messes? That I was protecting you from your own self-destruction?" "Rachel," Nancy warned, but Mom continued. "You want the truth, Gianna? Your father wasn't some noble victim. He was driving to expose me because he thought it would help you. He thought if he destroyed my reputation, you'd stop acting out, stop drinking, stop throwing away your future." "You're lying." "The letter wasn't fake." She pulled it from her purse. "But it wasn't about you disappearing that night. It was about what would happen if he went through with his plan to ruin me. If you're reading this, it means I've failed to protect our daughter from herself." Henry stood abruptly. "That's enough." "No, it's not." Mom's eyes locked onto mine. "You've been so focused on exposing everyone else's secrets, you never stopped to consider your own. Should we talk about the real reason you started writing these stories?" The room tilted. Behind her, a figure appeared in the doorway, Miss Lily clutching a familiar notebook. "I'm sorry, Gianna." Miss Lily's voice shook. "She found your original drafts." Mom smiled, that terrible knowing smile. "Such creative writing, especially the parts where you reimagined your father's accident, where you turned your own guilt into a weapon against everyone else." "Stop." The word came out as a whisper. "Tell them the truth about the phone call you made to your father that night, begging him to pick you up from that party, about how you knew he'd come, no matter what, because he always did." Nancy gasped softly. The sound cut like glass. "That's not, I didn't." But the memories were surfacing now, blurred by time and denial. The party, the drinks, the desperate call. "You wanted revenge?" Mom stepped closer. "Go ahead, tell everyone your story, but tell all of it, including how you've spent 5 years turning your own guilt into a crusade against me." I backed away, bumping into Henry's desk. Photographs scattered across the floor. Mom at the motel, Dad's accident scene, a teenage girl who looked just like me, passed out at a party. "You're not the only one who knows how to tell stories," Mom said softly. "The only difference is, I have proof for mine." The room spun with unspoken accusations and half-buried truths. Every story I'd written, every secret I'd exposed, suddenly reflected back at me, distorted and darker than before. Miss Lily stepped forward, the notebook extended like an offering, or evidence. "Sometimes," she said quietly, "the stories we tell ourselves are the most dangerous lies of all." I looked at the notebook, then at the scattered photographs, each one a piece of a truth I'd refused to see. The web I'd thought I was weaving had been there all along, spun from my own denied memories and carefully curated guilt. Mom watched me, her expression almost pitying. "Ready to tell the real story now?" The attic held 17 years of carefully curated lies. I sat cross-legged on the dusty floor, surrounded by photo albums, letters, and diaries, Mom's private archive of everyone's secrets. My secrets. Footsteps creaked on the stairs. Sophia appeared in the doorway, looking smaller than her 14 years. "Mom's looking for those." She gestured at the boxes. "I know." I turned a page in my father's diary. The last entry, dated the night of his accident, remained unfinished. If I can just make her understand. Sophia settled beside me, picking up a photograph. Us as children, before everything fractured. "Was any of it real?" "Which part?" "The stories you wrote, about Mike and Mom. About," she swallowed hard, "about me being the favorite." I studied my sister's face, seeing for the first time how Mom's manipulation had shaped her too. Some of it was true, some of it was how I needed it to be true. And Dad's accident? The diary felt heavy in my hands. That was my truth, just not the whole truth. More footsteps. Mom stood in the doorway, her expression unreadable. Behind her, Nancy and Henry hovered like guilty shadows. "Found what you were looking for?" Mom asked. I held up the diary. "Did you read it? All of it? Every word?" She stepped into the attic, including the parts about how he enabled your drinking, how he covered for you, lied for you, just like I did after he died. Until you didn't. Until I couldn't. She sat on an old trunk. Everything I did, the control, the secrets, even marrying Mike, was to keep you from destroying yourself like you almost destroyed him. So you destroyed me instead. "I saved you," her voice cracked, "the only way I knew how." I opened my laptop, where my final blog post waited. The cursor blinked beside the title, "The Truth About Lies." "What are you going to do?" Sophia whispered. The question hung in the attic's dusty air. Every secret in these boxes, every lie we'd told, they were all pieces of the same broken story. My story, their story, our truth. I began to type. This is a story about a girl who thought revenge meant exposing other people's lies. She didn't understand that the biggest lies were the ones she told herself. Mom stepped forward. "Gianna, let her write," Henry said softly. "It's time we all faced our truths." My fingers moved across the keyboard, weaving together the threads of our fractured family. The father who died trying to protect me from myself. The mother who buried her love beneath control. The sister caught between secrets she never asked to keep. When I finished, I turned the screen toward them. "This is my last story." They read in silence. Sophia's hand found mine. Mom's mask cracked, tears falling freely. "Post it," she finally said. "Are you sure? Everyone will know. Everyone already knows pieces. Let them see the whole picture." I clicked publish, watching our family's carefully constructed facade dissolve into pixels. But something else emerged from the digital ashes, something raw and real and ours. "What happens now?" Sophia asked. I closed the laptop and stood, surveying the boxes of secrets that had defined us for so long. "Now, we stop hiding." Mom nodded slowly, understanding passing between us. We couldn't undo the past, couldn't rewrite our choices, but maybe we could write a different kind of ending. I picked up Dad's diary one last time, running my fingers over his unfinished words. He tried to make me understand, and finally, I did. The truth wasn't in exposing secrets or seeking revenge. It was in facing our own reflections in the broken mirrors we'd created. "I'll help you clean up the attic," Sophia said. "No." I looked at our family, gathered among the remnants of our carefully curated lies. "Let's leave it exactly as it is, a reminder." Mom touched an old photograph, then let it fall back into its box. Some truths needed to stay buried, not to hide them, but to let them rest. Outside, rain began to fall, washing away the last traces of summer. I thought about Miss Lily, about Janet Matthews, about all the stories still untold. But those weren't mine to tell anymore. I had my own story now, raw, imperfect, but finally completely true.
The heavy oak doors of Vincenzo's creaked as I pushed them open, my heart pounding against my ribs like a trapped bird. Tonight would change everything. I'd rehearsed the words 1,000 times, but they still felt like broken glass in my mouth. My name is Mary, and I was about to detonate my family's perfect little world. The restaurant hummed with the usual Friday night chaos, servers weaving between tables, wine glasses clinking, the constant chatter of satisfied customers. My father's pride and joy, his temple of culinary tradition, where he'd spent 30 years building our family legacy, the legacy I was about to reject. "You're late." Tom's voice cut through the ambient noise as I reached the private dining room. My brother's perfectly pressed shirt and carefully styled hair screamed of the control he'd inherited from our father. "Everyone's waiting." "Traffic," I lied, smoothing my dress. The truth, I'd spent 20 minutes sitting in my car, gathering courage, would only give him more ammunition. The private dining room fell silent as I entered. Mother's fingers tightened around her wine glass, her smile stretched thin across her face. Father sat at the head of the table, his presence filling the room like smoke. Grandma Eleanor's knowing eyes met mine, and I saw a flash of understanding cross her weathered features. "Well, if it isn't our prodigal daughter," Father said, raising his glass. "Finally decided to grace us with your presence at our monthly family dinner?" I took my seat, the leather chair squeaking beneath me. "I had a client meeting that ran late." Yes, your little gardening hobby." Tom smirked, cutting into his veal. "How's that going?" "It's landscape design," I corrected, my voice steady despite the tremor in my hands. "And I just landed the Peterson estate project." "The Petersons?" Mother's eyebrows shot up. "Charles Peterson's place?" "Yes." I reached for my water glass, buying time. "They want a complete redesign of their grounds. It's a 6-figure contract." Father's knife scraped against his plate. "That's interesting, but surely not as interesting as the expansion plans for Vincenzo's. Tom, why don't you tell your sister about the new location?" "Actually," I interrupted, the word falling from my lips like a stone into still water. "I need to tell you all something." The air grew thick with tension. Grandma Eleanor set down her fork, her eyes never leaving my face. "I'm leaving the restaurant. Permanently." The silence that followed was absolute, broken only by the distant clattering of dishes from the main dining room. "Don't be ridiculous," Father said finally, his voice dangerously soft. "This is your heritage, Mary. Your responsibility." "No," I said, surprised by the strength in my voice. "It's your dream, Father, not mine. I'm building my own legacy now." Tom laughed, the sound sharp and cruel. "With what? Flower arrangements and pretty gardens?" This is what happens when you indulge a child's fantasies, Father. I told you she'd never... Enough. Father's fist crashed onto the table, making the silverware jump. Mary, you will not throw away generations of tradition for some foolish rebellion. I forbid it. I'm 28 years old, I said, standing slowly. You can't forbid me to do anything anymore. If you walk away from this table, he said, each word precise and cutting, you walk away from this family, from everything we've built, everything we are. I looked at Mother, who stared fixedly at her plate, at Tom, whose triumph leaked from every pore, at Grandma Eleanor, whose slight nod gave me the final push I needed. Then I guess this is goodbye. As I walked toward the door, Father's voice followed me like a curse. You'll regret this, Mary. Mark my words. What he didn't know, what none of them knew, was that I'd discovered their secrets. The missing money, the lies, the betrayals that ran deeper than anyone suspected. They thought this was about rebellion, about gardens versus restaurants. They had no idea this was just the beginning. I pushed through those heavy oak doors one last time, leaving behind the suffocating weight of false loyalty and forced traditions. In the cool night air, I finally allowed myself to smile. Let them think they'd won. Let them believe they'd broken me. Revenge, like the gardens I designed, required patience, planning, and perfect timing. And I had all three. Grandma Eleanor's garden always smelled of earth and secrets. 3 days after walking out of Vincenzo's, I found myself kneeling in her herb beds, dirt under my fingernails, trying to forget the 17 missed calls from my mother. Your father used to hide here too, Grandma Eleanor said, settling into her weathered wooden chair beside the lavender. Back when he was courting your mother and my husband disapproved. Father? Hiding? I yanked a stubborn weed, imagining it was Tom's smug face. That doesn't sound like the great Richard Thompson. People change, dear. Usually not for the better. She paused, watching a butterfly dance between her prized roses. Tom called this morning. My hands stilled in the soil. What did he want? To warn me about you. Said you're having some sort of breakdown. That I shouldn't enable your destructive behavior. She chuckled, the sound dry as autumn leaves. I told him to stuff it. Grandma? Oh, please, I'm 78. I've earned the right to speak my mind. She leaned forward, her voice dropping. But Mary, there's something you should know. I overheard your father and Tom talking last week, before your announcement. Something about missing funds and... The crunch of tires on gravel cut her off. Mother's silver Mercedes rolled into view and my stomach clenched. I'll handle this, Grandma Eleanor said, rising with surprising agility. You go around back through the kitchen. Take the box on the counter. I've been meaning to give it to you anyway. I slipped through the garden gate as Mother's heels clicked up the path. Their voices drifted over the hedges. Susan, what a surprise. Tea? Where is she, Mother? Who? The garden fairy? She was here earlier, stealing my strawberries. In the kitchen, a dusty wooden box sat waiting. Inside, yellowed papers caught my eye. Bank statements, letters, old photographs. One showed a younger version of my father standing beside an unfamiliar man, both wearing Vincenzo's uniforms. On the back, in Grandma's careful script, Richard and Marco, 1985. Original partners. Original partners? My phone buzzed. A text from Lily. Your brother's here at the design firm. Looking for you. Not happy. Another buzz. This time from David, my colleague. Need to talk. Found something interesting in the Peterson contract research. Call me. Footsteps approached the kitchen. I shoved the box into my bag as Mother burst in, Grandma Eleanor close behind. Enough running, Mary. Your father is willing to forgive this episode. Come home. We'll pretend none of this happened. Pretending is what got us here, I said, backing toward the door. How long have you been pretending everything's fine, Mother? That the restaurant's doing well? That Tom's qualified to run it? Her face paled. What are you talking about? Susan, Grandma Eleanor warned, but I was already moving. Ask Father about Marco, I said, watching Mother's expression shift. Ask him what really happened to his original partner. How did you? Mother's hands trembled as she reached for me. Mary, please, there are things you don't understand. I understand enough. The back door felt cool against my palm. And I'm going to understand more. Your father will never forgive you if you start digging, Mother said, her voice cracking. Some secrets should stay buried. Like the missing money? The words shot out before I could stop them. Mother's sharp intake of breath told me everything. Who told you about that? Nobody had to tell me. I have eyes. I stepped outside into the gathering dusk. And unlike you, I'm not afraid to use them. Mary. But I was already gone, the box of secrets heavy in my bag, my mind racing with possibilities. Later that night, as I sorted through the documents in my apartment, my phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. Heard you're asking about Marco. Coffee tomorrow, I have answers. I stared at the message, remembering the photograph, the fear in Mother's eyes, the pieces of a puzzle I hadn't known existed until now. Father had built his empire on something darker than family tradition, and I was going to find out what it was. The truth, like the thorny roses in Grandma Eleanor's garden, would draw blood before revealing its beauty. I was counting on it. The coffee shop buzzed with morning regulars, but Marco's daughter sat alone in the corner, her hands wrapped around an untouched latte. Sophia Rossi looked nothing like the smiling teenager in the old photograph, but grief had a way of aging people. 20 years without a father would do that. The official story was that Marco abandoned the restaurant, she said, sliding a manila envelope across the table. Left my mother and me for a new life in Chicago, except he never made it there. My fingers trembled as I opened the envelope. Bank statements, police reports, newspaper clippings yellowed with age. Your father didn't just steal the restaurant from mine, Sophia said. He stole everything. The bell above the door chimed. David walked in, freezing when he saw me. The Peterson estate blueprints tucked under his arm suddenly felt like evidence of another betrayal waiting to happen. Mary, we need to talk about the project. Not now. I shoved the documents into my bag. I'll meet you at the office. Sophia's dark eyes followed David as he retreated. Be careful who you trust. I learned that lesson too late. Back at the design firm, I locked myself in my office, spreading Marco's papers across my desk. The numbers told a story of systematic theft, of accounts drained and partnerships dissolved, of a man who disappeared the same night nearly $500,000 vanished from the restaurant's accounts. My phone lit up with Tom's name. I declined the call, but his text came through anyway. The Peterson contract is void. Hope you enjoyed your little rebellion while it lasted. The floor seemed to tilt beneath me. I dialed David's extension with shaking fingers. What did you do? Mary, listen. What did you do? His sigh crackled through the line. Tom came to me last week. Said your father would double my salary if I joined Vincenzo's development team instead. The Peterson project goes with me. You're working with them? After everything I told you? It's just business. Nothing personal. I laughed, the sound sharp enough to cut. Everything in my family is personal. Lily found me in the office parking lot an hour later, staring at my laptop screen. The restaurant's financial records glowed in the gathering dusk, numbers swimming before my eyes. You look like you've seen a ghost, she said, sliding into the passenger seat. Maybe I have. I turned the screen toward her. Look at these transfers. Every month, large sums moving through shell companies. It's still happening. Father's not just stealing from the restaurant. He's laundering money through it. Holy shit. Lily squinted at the screen. Does Tom know? Tom's probably helping him. The golden child wouldn't dare question. A sharp rap on my window made us both jump. Mother stood there, her perfect makeup unable to hide the fear in her eyes. We need to talk, she mouthed through the glass. In the quiet of an empty conference room, Mother's composure cracked. Your father knows you've been talking to Sophia Rossi. He's not himself, Mary. I've never seen him like this. Like what? Scared? Dangerous. She gripped my arm. Whatever you think you know about Marco, let it go. Please, before someone else gets hurt. Like Marco did? Mother's hand fell away. You don't understand what happened back then. What your father had to do to protect us. Protect us or protect himself? Both. She moved toward the door, then paused. Your grandmother called. Said she has more documents for you. Don't go there tonight. Tom's watching the house, but as she left, her words had the opposite effect. If Tom was watching Grandma Eleanor's house, it meant there was something there worth protecting. Something they didn't want me to find. I waited until midnight before driving out to the estate. The gardens were silver under the moon, roses nodding like conspirators in the breeze. A light burned in Grandma Eleanor's study window. The back door opened before I could knock. I was wondering when you'd come, Grandma said, ushering me inside. There's something you need to see. Something I should have shown you years ago. She led me to her study, where an old safe stood open in the wall behind her desk. Inside, a single red ledger waited like a time bomb. Your father didn't just steal the restaurant from Marco, she said, echoing Sophia's words from this morning. He stole it from me, and now we're going to take it back. I stared at my grandmother, this woman I thought I knew, and saw a stranger with familiar eyes. What are you saying? I'm saying, my dear, that revenge runs in the family. She smiled, sharp as thorns. And it's time you learned how deep those roots really go. The red ledger burned in my bag like a live coal as I walked into Vincenzo's through the service entrance. 3 decades of secrets wrapped in cracked leather, and every page stained with my grandmother's meticulous handwriting. The kitchen staff barely glanced my way. They remembered me from before, the prodigal daughter who used to help prep vegetables on summer breaks. Tom's voice carried from the office. The health inspector's coming Monday. Make it look good. I slipped past, following the familiar path to Father's private office. The safe behind the Tuscan landscape painting called to me like a siren. 20 minutes. That's all I needed. The combination hadn't changed. Mother's birthday, as always. Inside, fresh documents waited like prizes. Loan agreements, property deeds, and a familiar name that made my blood freeze. David's signature, dated 3 weeks ago on partnership papers. Looking for something specific? I slammed the safe shut, but Tom already filled the doorway, his smile sharp as broken glass. You always were terrible at being sneaky, little sister. Funny, I was just thinking the same about you. I held up David's contract. How long have you been planning this? Since you started asking questions about Marco. He stepped closer, reaching for the paper. Did you really think Father would let you walk away knowing what you know? I backed toward the window. And what exactly do I know, Tom? That depends on what Sophia Rossi told you. His eyes flickered to my bag. And what's in that ledger grandmother gave you? The bottom dropped out of my stomach. How did you? Because I've been watching you, Mary. We all have. Did you think you were the only one grandmother trusted with her secrets? A noise from the hallway made us both turn. Father stood there, looking older than I'd ever seen him. I told you to wait, he said to Tom, his voice heavy with something that might have been regret. She has the ledger, Tom replied. We need to... Need to what? I cut in, anger burning away my fear. Make me disappear like Marco? Father's face went slack. What did you say? I know everything. The money laundering, the embezzlement, how you forced Marco out and then... Shut up! Tom lunged forward, but Father caught his arm. Mary, Father said quietly, whatever you think you know about Marco is the truth. A new voice interrupted. Mother stood in the doorway, her hands shaking but her spine straight. And it's time she heard all of it. Susan, don't... I've kept your secrets for 20 years, Richard. I won't do it anymore. She turned to me. Marco didn't just disappear, Mary. He was murdered, and your brother helped cover it up. The world tilted sideways. Tom's face had gone chalk white. That's a lie. Is it? Mother's laugh was bitter as medicine. You were only 12, but you saw everything that night. And your father convinced you it was an accident, that keeping quiet would protect the family. I clutched the ledger tighter, remembering grandmother's words. Revenge runs in the family. That's why you've been watching me, I said to Tom. Not to protect father's secrets, to protect your own. You don't understand, he whispered. You never understood what it takes to keep this family together. Together? The word tasted like ash. We were never together. We were just prisoners of his lies. I gestured at father with the ledger. And grandmother knew everything. She was gathering evidence, waiting for the right moment. The right moment for what? David appeared behind mother, and my heart contracted at his practiced, innocent expression. How long had he been listening? For justice, I said, meeting father's eyes. Marco's daughter deserves to know what happened to him, and I'm going to tell her. No, father said softly. You're not. He reached into his desk drawer and the world slowed down. Mother screamed. Tom moved forward. The ledger slipped from my fingers, but it was David who reached me first, pulling me through the office door as father's hand emerged with something metal and final. Run, David hissed in my ear. I'll hold them off. But Mary... His eyes met mine. Don't trust anyone, not even me. I ran, my grandmother's ledger clutched to my chest, my family's secrets burning like poison in my veins. Behind me, voices raised in anger, in fear, in desperation. But I didn't look back. I couldn't. Because now I knew revenge wasn't just about justice anymore. It was about survival. Grandma Eleanor's hands shook as she sorted through her medications, the morning sun casting long shadows across her kitchen table. 3 days since I'd fled Vincenzo's, and the world had shifted like quicksand beneath our feet. Your mother called again, she said, not meeting my eyes. They're saying you stole financial documents, that you're trying to destroy the restaurant. My laptop screen flickered with Marco's autopsy report, obtained through channels I'd rather not think about. Funny how they're more worried about paper than murder. The doorbell rang, making us both jump. Through the window, I spotted David's car in the driveway. Grandmother's fingers closed around my wrist. Don't, she whispered. The timing's too convenient. I watched him pace on the porch, phone pressed to his ear. His voice carried through the window. No sign of her here, Tom. My chest tightened. Grandmother's grip strengthened. There's something else you need to see, she said, leading me to her study. But first, promise me you'll be careful with what you learn. Knowledge is like poison. The dose determines whether it kills or cures. She pulled a sealed envelope from her desk drawer. Inside, a photograph showed a younger version of my mother with David, dated 15 years ago. They were laughing, intimate, his arm around her waist. Your mother's affair didn't just break your father, grandmother said softly. It broke something in Tom, too. Watching his perfect family crumble, seeing what secrets could do. The doorbell rang again, more insistent. David's voice rose. Mary, if you're in there, please, we need to talk. My phone buzzed. Sophia Rossi. Emergency? Meet me at the cafe. Found something about the night my father died. I have to go. I told grandmother, but she blocked the door. Wait, there's more. She pressed a USB drive into my palm. Bank records, properties in your mother's maiden name. The real reason Marco had to die. What are you saying? Your father didn't kill Marco, Mary. Your mother did. And Tom saw everything. The world tilted sideways. Outside, car doors slammed. Multiple vehicles. Grandmother hurried to the window, her face draining of color. They're here. Richard, Tom, and... Oh, Mary. Your mother, too. My phone buzzed again. Lily. Don't trust Sophia. She's working with Tom. The greenhouse, grandmother said, already moving. There's a tunnel left over from Prohibition days. It leads to the old church property. Come with me. No. She straightened her spine, suddenly looking every inch the family matriarch. I'll buy you time. But Mary... She gripped my shoulders. Whatever you do next, remember, revenge doesn't have to mean destruction. Sometimes the best revenge is surviving, thriving, building something new from the ashes. Heavy footsteps on the porch. David's voice joined by others. Grandmother pushed me toward the greenhouse door, the combination to my safe. She whispered, "Use it when the time is right. Now go." I ran through the greenhouse, past the roses she'd taught me to tend, the herbs she'd used to heal my childhood scrapes. Behind me, the front door splintered open, voices raised in anger and accusation. The tunnel entrance lay hidden behind a false panel of gardening tools. As I pulled it shut, I heard my father's voice, cold with fury. "Where is she, Eleanor? Where she needs to be." My grandmother replied, steel in her voice, "Doing what should have been done 20 years ago." A crash, a scream, my mother's. Then Tom's voice, urgent. "She's in the greenhouse." I plunged into the darkness of the tunnel, my grandmother's USB drive clutched in one hand, my phone in the other. Above, footsteps thundered through the greenhouse. Glass shattered. Someone cursed. My phone lit up one last time. An unknown number. Marco's ledger wasn't the only one. Your grandmother kept her own records. Find them and you'll understand everything. D. I switched off the phone, letting darkness swallow me whole. Ahead lay uncertainty, danger, and truth. Behind lay everything I'd ever known, burning to ashes in my grandmother's greenhouse. But she was right. Revenge didn't have to mean destruction. Sometimes it meant surviving long enough to rebuild. And I intended to do both. The old church basement smelled of mildew and broken promises. I huddled in the corner, watching the USB drive's contents flicker across my laptop screen. 3 hours since I'd emerged from the tunnel, and each new document felt like another nail in my family's coffin. My phone vibrated. Lily's 10th attempt to reach me. I let it ring. After what the files had shown me about David's connection to my mother, I couldn't trust anyone. Not even my best friend. A door creaked upstairs. Footsteps echoed through the empty church. "I know you're here, Mary." Tom's voice carried down the stairs. "Grandmother's in the hospital. Stroke, they're saying. She's asking for you." My fingers froze over the keyboard. The latest document showed a series of payments from my mother to Marco, dated weeks before his death. Blackmail money. "You're lying," I called back, already packing my laptop. "Check your phone." A pause. "She collapsed right after you left. The doctors don't think she'll make it through the night." My screen lit up with a hospital photo. Grandmother, pale and small against white sheets. Mother sat beside her, and the timestamp was from 10 minutes ago. "I'm coming down," Tom said. His footsteps descended slowly. Alone, unarmed. "Just let me explain." He appeared in the doorway, hands raised. The brother I'd grown up with looked haunted, hollowed out. "You knew," I said. "All these years you knew what Mother did to Marco." "I was 12, Mary. I saw..." He swallowed hard. "I saw her push him down the stairs at Vincenzo's. Saw Father help her hide the body. But I didn't understand why until now. The affair with David. Not just that." Tom moved closer, his shoes crunching on broken glass. "Marco discovered Mother's other life. The properties she'd bought with laundered money, the connections to organized crime. He threatened to expose everything. So she killed him." The words tasted like acid. "And Father covered it up. To protect us. To protect you." Tom's laugh was bitter. "Why do you think he pushed you so hard to join the restaurant? Keep you close. Keep you safe from Mother's world. Safe?" I gestured at my laptop. "There are millions missing from the restaurant accounts, all traced to offshore accounts in Mother's name." "I know. I've been tracking them for years, trying to find proof." He reached into his jacket, producing a familiar red ledger. "Grandmother's not the only one who kept records." The basement door slammed shut above us. David's voice carried down. "Tom, did you find her?" Tom's expression shifted to panic. "We need to go, now." "Why?" "David helped me escape at Vincenzo's." "Because David works for Mother. Has for 15 years. Tom grabbed my arm. Their affair wasn't love, it was business. He's her cleaner when things get messy. Footsteps on the stairs. Tom shoved me toward a broken window. The tunnels connect under the whole historic district. He whispered. Go to St. Michael's Cemetery. I'll meet you at Marco's grave in 2 hours. Why should I trust you? Because I'm done pretending. His eyes met mine. Mother killed Marco. Now she's killing father slowly with guilt, killing our family with secrets. It has to end. The basement door opened. I slipped through the window just as David's voice rang out. She was here, the laptop still warm. I ran through the darkness, Tom's ledger clutched to my chest. Behind me, voices argued. Something shattered. A gunshot cracked through the night. My phone buzzed one final time. A text from Mother. You're just like Marco. Too stubborn to let things lie. Don't make me solve this problem the same way. I switched off the phone, letting the tunnels swallow me again. The truth about my family lay scattered between 3 ledgers. Marco's, grandmother's, and now Tom's. Each telling a different version of our destruction. But grandmother lay dying. Tom might be dead. And Mother's cleaner was hunting me through the underground maze of our town's history. For the first time since this started, revenge felt hollow. This wasn't about justice anymore. It wasn't even about survival. It was about legacy. About whether anything good could grow from soil soaked in 20 years of lies. The cemetery waited ahead, Marco's grave holding its own secrets. In 2 hours, I'd either find answers with Tom or join Marco in the family's final betrayal. Either way, the harvest of our sins was ready to be reaped. St. Michael's Cemetery lay silent under a waning moon. Marco's headstone cast a long shadow across the frost-covered grass, and I wasn't alone beside it. Mother stood there, elegant even at midnight, her camel hair coat catching the moonlight. No David in sight, but the weight of her purse suggested she hadn't come unarmed. Tom's alive, she said, answering my unspoken question. For now, though his loyalty seems questionable these days. I clutched the 3 ledgers to my chest. Marco's, grandmother's, Tom's, the holy trinity of our family's damnation. Like yours was to Marco? Loyalty? She laughed softly. Marco was a means to an end. Like David. Like your father. Even you if you just played your part. What part? Ignorant daughter, blind accomplice, survivor. She moved closer, her heels silent on the frozen ground. Everything I did was to build something lasting, something powerful. The restaurant was just the beginning. It was built on blood money, on Marco's murder. It was built on necessity. Her voice hardened. Marco threatened everything, not just the money laundering, but the entire network. Your father never knew the full scope, still doesn't. Movement flickered at the cemetery gate. Tom appeared, limping but alive, his dark coat stained darker on one sleeve. Tell her the rest, he called out. Tell her about grandmother. Mother's face tightened. Eleanor made her choice. Like Marco did? I stepped back, pieces clicking into place. Grandmother wasn't just keeping records. She was gathering evidence, building a case. For 20 years, Tom said, moving closer. Working with the FBI? That stroke wasn't natural, was it, Mother? She was going to destroy everything. Mother's hand slipped into her purse. Just like you're trying to do now. No. Father's voice cut through the darkness. He emerged from behind a mausoleum, looking older than I'd ever seen him. It ends tonight, Susan. No more blood. No more lies. Richard. Her smile turned razor sharp. Still trying to protect our children from the truth? That you helped hide Marco's body? That you've been laundering money through our restaurant for decades? To protect them from you. He moved to stand beside me. But I can't anymore. The FBI has everything. Eleanor's evidence, Tom's recordings, Mary's files. Mother's laugh turned wild. You think that matters? I built this empire while you played restaurant owner. I have connections you can't imagine. Had connections. David's voice rang out. He stepped from the shadows, badge glinting in the moonlight. Federal Agent David Chen. Your network's been dismantled, Mrs. Thompson. It's over. The gun appeared in Mother's hand like a magic trick. Nothing's over until I say it is. Everything happened at once. Tom lunged forward. Father shouted. David reached for his weapon, but I was closest. The struggle was brief, desperate. The gun discharged into the night sky as we fell. Mother's perfume filled my nose, familiar as childhood. Her fingers, strong as steel, fought for control. I gave you everything, she hissed. You took everything, I corrected, and brought Marco's ledger down hard against her temple. She crumpled, the gun skittering across frozen grass. David moved in with handcuffs while Father helped me up. I'm sorry, he whispered, for all of it. Tom picked up Mother's fallen purse, removing a syringe. Same poison she used on Grandmother. She was going to... Don't. I stopped him. Some secrets should stay buried. As FBI vehicles surrounded the cemetery, their lights painting the headstones in red and blue, I looked at what remained of my family. Father, broken but finally honest. Tom, wounded but allied at last. Mother, defeated on the ground where Marco lay below. What happens now? Tom asked. I touched Marco's headstone, feeling the cold marble under my fingers. We rebuild. Not the restaurant, not Mother's empire, something new. Together? Father's voice cracked. Together, I agreed. But first we need to visit Grandmother. She deserves to know it's finished. Dawn was breaking as we left the cemetery, painting the sky the color of fresh roses. Somewhere in a hospital room, Grandmother Eleanor was waiting. And for the first time since this began, revenge no longer tasted like salvation. It tasted like morning dew on new leaves, like possibility, like hope. Spring bloomed early in Grandmother Eleanor's garden. I knelt in the soft earth, transplanting the last of her prized roses to the greenhouse. The estate felt different now. Less a sanctuary, more a testament to survival. The newspaper on the kitchen table told our family's story in bold headlines. Thompson Restaurant, Empire Falls. Criminal enterprise exposed. Mother's trial had ended yesterday. 25 years for Marco's murder, plus additional charges for financial crimes. Father and Tom had taken plea deals, their testimonies helping dismantle her network. Lily appeared at the garden gate, portfolio in hand. The Peterson designs are ready for review, and there's someone here to see you. I wiped dirt from my hands as Sophia Rossi walked through the garden. She carried a familiar wooden box, the one that had started everything. Found this in my father's storage unit, she said, setting it beside me. Thought you should have it. Inside lay photographs. Marco and my mother in their youth, laughing at the restaurant's opening. Another showed Grandmother Eleanor with Marco, their heads bent over garden plans. The final image showed my mother's handwriting on the back. The beginning of the end. They were going to transform the restaurant, Sophia said quietly. Marco's recipes, Eleanor's garden-to-table concept, before ambition poisoned everything. The greenhouse door creaked. Tom stood there, looking uncertain in civilian clothes. His ankle monitor caught the sunlight. The investigators finished at Vincenzo's, he said. They're returning the original deed to Marco's family, to Sophia. She nodded, unsurprised. I'm selling it, unless... Unless? I asked. Unless you both want to help me rebuild it. Not as it was. As it should have been. Tom's breath caught. I studied my brother's face. Thinner now, humbled by house arrest and community service, but clearer somehow. Like soil after rain. I can't, he said finally. Some legacies shouldn't be repeated. But others can be transformed, I added, touching one of Grandmother's roses. I know a thing or two about gardens, about making beauty grow from wreckage. Sophia smiled. That's what Marco always said about your grandmother, that she could make flowers bloom in concrete. A car pulled up to the house. David, Agent Chen now, stepped out, carrying files. Our eyes met briefly, acknowledging what could have been, what never would be. He'd played his part in justice, but some betrayals left scars too deep for forgiveness. "The FBI finished processing Eleanor's evidence," he said, handing me the files. "They found something you should see." Inside was a letter, written in grandmother's elegant hand the day before Mother poisoned her. Not an accusation or a confession, but a recipe. Her secret garden sauce, the one that had made Vincenzo's famous. "The final ingredient," she'd written, "is forgiveness. Not for them, but for yourself. Let go of the thorns, dear Mary. Find the flowers instead." Tears blurred my vision. Tom's hand found my shoulder, steady and warm. "What do you say, little sister?" he asked. "Ready to plant something new?" I looked at our strange gathering. Sophia with her father's box, David with his badge and regrets, Tom with his monitor and hope, Lily with her designs and loyalty. All of us marked by the past, but not bound by it. "First," I said, "we need to finish grandmother's garden." She always said every ending should nurture a beginning. As they moved toward the greenhouse, I lingered by the roses. Mother's empire had crumbled, but something else had taken root. Something that smelled of basil and redemption, of soil and second chances. The thorns would always be there, reminding us of what was lost. But now they protected something precious. The truth that revenge, like gardens, could be transformed into restoration. I picked up my trowel and joined the others. We had work to do, my unlikely family of survivors and seekers. And somewhere, in the rich, dark earth of our shared history, tomorrow's flowers were waiting to bloom. Not in spite of our scars, but because of them. Together, we would make them grow.
The phone slips from my grip, clattering against my desk. Mia's words echo in my head, each syllable a dagger twisting deeper. "You're done with us. Enjoy your empty life." I'm Sutton, and until 30 seconds ago, I thought I had everything figured out. The corner office with its floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seattle's skyline used to feel like a throne room. Now, it's just a glass cage where my world is shattering. "Hello? Sutton, did you hear what I said?" Mia's voice crackles through the speaker. My fingers tremble as I pick up the phone. "Say it again." My voice sounds foreign, hollow. "Ryan and I are in love. We've been seeing each other for months. He's leaving you." I press my palm against the cool glass, watching my breath fog the surface. Below, people scurry like ants, oblivious to the fact that my best friend just confessed to sleeping with my husband. "Where is he now?" "Packing his things from your house." She pauses, and I can almost see her signature smirk. "He couldn't bear to tell you himself. Said you'd probably be too busy with work to notice anyway." The laugh that escapes me is sharp enough to cut glass. Coward. Look, I didn't have to tell you myself. I could have let you figure it out when... When what, Mia? When you posted your first couple selfie on Instagram? How considerate of you. My free hand finds the framed photo on my desk. Ryan and me at our wedding 3 years ago. His arms around my waist, both of us laughing at something Mia had said behind the camera. Mia, my maid of honor. Mia, who'd helped plan every detail of that day. "You brought this on yourself," she continues. "All those late nights at the office, the missed anniversaries, the constant phone calls during dinner. Ryan needed someone who could actually see him. And you needed someone who could fund your champagne lifestyle?" The words taste like acid. "Tell me, does Ryan know about the credit card debt you've been hiding?" Silence crackles between us. That's what I thought. I set the frame face down. "You really should be more careful with your passwords, Mia. You had no right? Like you had no right to fuck my husband?" A notification pops up on my computer screen. An email from Ryan. Subject line: "I'm sorry. Delete." "It wasn't planned," Mia says, her voice softening with fake sympathy. "These things just happen sometimes." "No, they don't just happen. They're orchestrated, calculated. Like all those times you convinced me to stay late at work, saying you'd keep Ryan company at dinner." My fingers curl into a fist. "How long have you been planning this?" "Sutton, how long?" "Since the day your company went public." The pretense drops from her voice. "You want to know why? Because you stopped being my friend that day. You became this This untouchable CEO who thought she was better than everyone else. Ryan saw it too. I close my eyes, remembering the champagne we'd shared that night, how Mia had hugged me and whispered, "You deserve all of this." Now I understand what she really meant. "You're right about one thing," I say, my voice steady despite the storm raging inside. "I am better than everyone else, and you've just made the biggest mistake of your life." Is that a threat? No, Mia, it's a promise. I end the call and stand up, smoothing my skirt. Through the glass walls, I can see my employees working, their faces illuminated by computer screens. My empire, my strength. I pick up the wedding photo and drop it in the trash. Then I open my laptop and begin typing, "Emergency board meeting. Agenda. Immediate termination of Ryan's contract." This is just the beginning. They think they know me. They have no idea what I'm capable of. My phone buzzes. A text from my sister Emma. "Just heard. Coming over tonight. Don't do anything rash." Too late for that. The game has already begun. Emma's presence fills my empty house like a warm blanket, but I can't stop staring at the spaces where Ryan's things used to be. The bare walls where his photography once hung, the empty side of the closet, the vacant spot where his laptop always sat. "You need to eat something," Emma says, sliding a plate of takeout across the kitchen island. I push it away. "I need to work. The board meeting's tomorrow." "Firing him won't make you feel better." "No?" I pull up the security footage on my tablet. "Watch this." The video shows Ryan and Mia in the office kitchen 3 weeks ago. Their bodies too close, her hand lingering on his arm, both of them laughing at some private joke. My stomach churns as I remember walking in moments later, how they'd sprung apart, how Mia had immediately launched into a story about her latest dating disaster. "They were playing me for months," I say, pausing the frame on their guilty faces, "right under my nose." Emma reaches over and closes the tablet cover. "You're torturing yourself." "I'm gathering evidence." "For what? Your revenge fantasy?" She leans forward, her eyes searching mine. "This isn't you, Sutton. You're not vindictive." A bitter laugh escapes me. Maybe that's why they thought they could get away with it. My phone buzzes. Another email from Ryan. Third one today. All unread, all bearing the same desperate subject line. "Please let me explain." "He's trying to reach you," Emma says, noticing my expression. "He had plenty of chances to talk. Like all those nights, I came home late to find him already asleep. Or pretending to be." I stand up, pacing the kitchen. "You know what the worst part is? Last month, when I was working on the merger, Mia kept telling me to stay focused, that Ryan understood. She was literally pushing me out of my own marriage." "Have you talked to Lucas about this?" "My therapist? Please. He'd just tell me to process my feelings or some other useless advice." I stop at the window, watching a couple walk hand in hand down the street. I don't need to process anything. I need to act. Emma's phone chimes. She glances at it, then quickly looks away, but not before I catch her expression. "What is it?" "Nothing." "Emma." She hesitates, then turns her phone toward me. It's an Instagram post from Mia, her and Ryan at their favorite restaurant, his arm around her shoulders. The caption reads, "Sometimes the wrong path leads you to the right person." New beginnings. The rage that floods through me is cold and clarifying. 300 people have liked that post. 300 people who know my husband left me for my best friend. Social media isn't real life. No, but reputation is everything in this industry. I grab my laptop, opening my email. Ryan doesn't just lose his job tomorrow. He loses his entire career. No design firm in Seattle will touch him after I'm done. And Mia? Oh, I have special plans for Mia. I pull up her credit card statements, the ones I shouldn't have access to, but do. Did you know she's been charging $1,000 dinners to her company card, claiming client meetings that never happened? Emma stands up abruptly. Stop. Just stop. You're talking about destroying people's lives. They destroyed mine first. No, they hurt you, badly, but you're still standing. Your company's still thriving. Don't let their betrayal turn you into someone you're not. My fingers hover over the keyboard. For a moment, I see myself through Emma's eyes, hunched over my laptop in my dark kitchen, plotting revenge while my dinner grows cold. When did I become this person? Then my phone buzzes again. Another notification. Ryan and Mia tagged at a weekend getaway spot. Our weekend getaway spot. You should go home, I tell Emma, my voice steady. I have work to do. She gathers her things slowly, reluctantly. At the door, she turns back. Just remember, whatever you do next, you have to live with it. And so do I. After she leaves, I sit in the silence of my empty house, surrounded by the ghosts of my marriage. On my screen, the evidence of their betrayal glows like a beacon. Emma's right, I'm not vindictive. But maybe it's time I learned to be. I open a new document and start typing. Board meeting agenda, immediate security concerns, and corporate espionage review. By morning, Ryan won't know what hit him. And that's just the beginning. The board meeting ends exactly as planned. Ryan's termination is unanimous. His security access revoked before he even knows what's happening. I watch through my office window as security escorts him out, box of belongings in his arms. He looks up, meets my eyes. I don't look away. My phone lights up with an incoming call from Lucas, third one this week. I silence it, turning instead to my laptop where I've been running data recovery software on Ryan's company devices. That's when I find them, hundreds of deleted messages between him and Mia dating back 8 months. I start reading, each message like swallowing broken glass. S is working late again. Come over? Missing you already. Yesterday was perfect. We need to be careful. She's getting suspicious. Don't worry, I know exactly how to handle her. The timestamps tell their own story. Messages sent during our anniversary dinner when Ryan claimed food poisoning. During the weekend, I was closing the merger. During my father's funeral. A knock at my door. Emma enters without waiting for a response. You couldn't even give him a chance to resign? I keep scrolling through messages. He gave up that chance when he started sleeping with my best friend in my house. The board meeting was overkill. Everyone's talking. Good. I turn the laptop toward her. Read these. Tell me if you still think I'm being harsh. She glances at the screen, then away. I can't. It feels wrong. Wrong? Like planning to leave your wife while she's burying her father? My voice cracks. Look at the date on that message, Emma. He was with her the night before the funeral, the night I needed him most. Emma sinks into a chair, her face pale. I didn't know. Neither did I. But Mia knew everything. She was playing both sides, pushing us apart while pretending to help. I pull up another window. Want to know what else I found? She's been embezzling from her company for months. Designer clothes, luxury hotels, all charged to her corporate card under fake client meetings. How did you get access to... Does it matter? I stand up, pacing. She's been living beyond her means, trying to keep up with some image. And Ryan... God, Ryan's been helping her cover it up. They're perfect for each other. Both liars, both cheats. My phone buzzes again. A text from Mia. We need to talk, in person. Emma reads it over my shoulder. Don't go. Why not? I'd love to hear her explain these expense reports to her boss. I grab my coat. Or maybe I'll ask about the offshore account she opened last month. Sutton, stop. Emma grabs my arm. You're starting to scare me. This isn't justice, it's obsession. I shake her off. You don't understand. This isn't just about the affair. They plotted this, Emma. Every time Mia convinced me to work late, every time she offered to keep Ryan company, she was orchestrating this, and I let her. So what's your end game? Destroy their lives? Then what? My phone chimes with an email alert. It's from Ryan's personal account, sent to his entire contact list, including our mutual friends and industry connections. Subject: The truth about Sutton. I open it, my hands shaking. I need to tell my side of the story. Sutton isn't the victim she pretends to be. Ask her about the company's real financial statements. Ask her what really happened to her last partner. The blood drains from my face. He wouldn't dare. What's he talking about? Emma asks. I close the email, my mind racing. Nothing. He's desperate, trying to save his reputation. But we both know it's more than that. Ryan knows things. Things I've never told anyone, not even Emma. Things that could destroy everything I've built. Whatever he's threatening, Emma says quietly. Is it worth all this? I look at my sister's worried face, then at my phone where Mia's message still waits for a response. Finally, at my computer screen, where the evidence of their betrayal mingles with dangerous secrets of my own. You should go, I tell Emma. I need to handle this. She hesitates at the door. Promise me you won't do anything reckless. I don't answer. We both know it's too late for that. After she leaves, I send a text to Mia. Café Noir. 1 hour. Come alone. It's time to find out just how much they think they know, and what they plan to do with that information. The game has changed. Now it's not just about revenge, it's about survival. Café Noir's dim lighting can't hide Mia's nervousness as she slides into the booth across from me. Her designer outfit screams new money, money I know she doesn't have. You look terrible, she says, studying my face. Betrayal does that. I push a folder across the table. Interesting expense reports. She doesn't open it. Ryan's email. Is it true? Which part? The lies about the company finances or the vague threats about my past? Don't play games, Sutton. We both know what happened to David. The name hits me like a physical blow. I haven't heard it spoken aloud in years. My former business partner, the one who disappeared right before our company went public. Careful, Mia. I keep my voice steady. You're stepping into dangerous territory. Am I? Because Ryan found some interesting documents in the old company files, things that don't add up. My phone vibrates. A text from Emma. Where are you? Call me now. I ignore it. What exactly does Ryan think he knows? Enough to make the board very interested. Mia leans forward. But we can make this all go away. You back off, let Ryan keep his reputation in the industry, and these documents stay buried. A waiter approaches. We both sit back, fake smiles in place. Just water, I tell him. She was leaving. Actually, Mia says, I'll have a champagne. Might as well celebrate my leverage. After he leaves, I open my laptop. Before you get too comfortable, take a look at this. I turn the screen toward her. Her face pales as she recognizes her own bank statements, the transfers to offshore accounts, the falsified client meetings. How did you... The same way Ryan accessed those old files. Amazing what people leave unprotected. I close the laptop. So here's my counteroffer. You and Ryan disappear. No social media, no industry contacts, no attempts to expose anything. Or I send these to your boss, the IRS, and every news outlet in Seattle. Her champagne arrives. She doesn't touch it. You wouldn't. Try me. I stand up. Oh, and Mia? That offshore account you opened? It's already frozen. Funny how quick banks act when they suspect fraud. You psychotic bitch. Her composed facade cracks. This is why Ryan left you. You're empty inside, just like David said. I smile, but it feels more like baring teeth. Be careful what stories you believe, Mia. Some of them have very unhappy endings. My phone buzzes again. Emma, then Lucas, then Emma again. Something's wrong. Think about my offer, I say, gathering my things. You have 24 hours. Outside, the evening air does nothing to cool my racing thoughts. I finally check Emma's messages. Ryan's at my house. He's showing me things about David. What did you do, Sutton? This can't be true. My hands shake as I call her, straight to voicemail. A text from an unknown number pops up. Remember the night David confronted you about the missing funds? I do. R. The world tilts sideways. That night. The argument in the office. The accident that wasn't really an accident. I flag down a taxi, giving Emma's address. As we drive, more messages flood in. From Mia. You're not the only one with evidence. From Ryan. The truth always comes out. From Emma. Don't come here. I can't even look at you right now. The taxi driver glances in the rearview mirror. You okay, lady? You're looking pale. I catch my reflection in the window. A stranger stares back, someone haunted and dangerous. When did I become this person? My phone rings again. Lucas. This time I answer. Where are you? He asks without preamble. Handling things. Stop. Whatever you're planning, stop. Come to my office. I can't. Emma. Is safe. She called me. But you won't be if you don't end this now. I hang up, watching the city lights blur past. They think they can threaten me? They have no idea what I'm capable of, what I've already done. The taxi pulls up to Emma's house. Through the window I see them, Ryan, Emma, heads bent over documents. My sister looks up, meets my eyes. The horror in her expression tells me everything. My phone buzzes one final time, a message from David's old number. Miss me? The game isn't just about revenge anymore. It's about survival, and I've had practice at both. 3 days after Emma stopped answering my calls, Mia's carefully constructed world starts crumbling. Her company's internal audit reveals the fraudulent expenses. Her social media accounts mysteriously leak private messages about her affair with Ryan. Her credit cards get declined at her favorite restaurants. I watch it all through the security cameras I've gained access to, through the bank notifications I've intercepted, through the panicked texts she sends Ryan. Someone's destroying us, she writes, and we both know who. I take another sip of coffee, my third cup since midnight, and continue typing. One keystroke, and Ryan's design portfolio vanishes from his professional website. Another, and his client testimonials disappear. By morning, his reputation in the industry will be radioactive. My phone rings, Lucas again. I silence it, but not before seeing his text. David's case is being reopened. The words send ice through my veins. On my laptop screen, a news alert pops up. Tech entrepreneur's disappearance. New evidence emerges. A knock at my office door makes me jump. It's Emma. You look terrible, she says, stepping inside without invitation. What are you doing here? Stopping you from making things worse. She places a manila envelope on my desk. Ryan showed me everything about David. The missing funds, the argument, the security footage from that night. My fingers curl around my coffee cup. And you believe him? I don't know what to believe anymore. She sinks into a chair. The sister I know wouldn't what? Protect everything she'd built? The coffee scalds my throat. David was going to destroy us. He would have taken everything. So you destroyed him first? Before I can answer, my computer chimes. An email from Mia to her entire professional network. The truth about Sutton Chen, a story of fraud and murder. Emma reads it over my shoulder. Jesus, Sutton, what have you done? What I had to. I open my drawer, pull out a USB drive. Just like I'm doing now. What's that? Insurance. I plug it in, start uploading files. Every dirty secret, every hidden transaction, every lie they've ever told. By morning, Mia and Ryan won't have a reputation left to salvage. And what about your reputation? Emma grabs my wrist. Your company? Your life? They started this. No, you escalated it. The affair was bad enough, but this? She gestures at my screens. You're not just destroying them, you're destroying yourself. My phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. Parking garage, 20 minutes. Come alone, or David's autopsy photos go public. Emma sees it. Don't go. I have to. I stand, gathering my things. They want to play hardball? Fine, I invented the game. This isn't a game. Emma blocks the door. Ryan showed me the security footage. I saw what happened with David. Please, just stop. Turn yourself in before... Before what? Before I lose everything? I laugh, but it sounds hollow. I already have. Now I'm just making sure they lose everything too. Then you'll lose me as well. Her voice breaks. I can't watch you become this person. Another text. 15 minutes. Clock's ticking. I move past Emma toward the door. She grabs my arm one last time. Whatever happened with David, she whispers. Whatever you did, it's not too late to make different choices now. For a moment, I see myself through her eyes. Sleepless, obsessed, dangerous. When did revenge become more important than redemption? But then my phone lights up with another message, this time from Ryan. Time to face your past, Sutton, just like David did. I'm sorry, I tell Emma, pulling away. Some choices can't be unmade. In the elevator down to the parking garage, I check the USB upload, 89% complete. By the time they realize what I've done, it'll be too late. Their lives will be in ruins, just like mine. The garage is dark, quiet. My heels echo on concrete as I walk deeper into the shadows. Somewhere ahead, answers wait. Or maybe just more questions. My phone buzzes one final time. A message from David's old number. Ready for a reunion? I straighten my spine, check my weapon, and step forward into the darkness. They want to expose my secrets? Fine. Let's see if they can survive their own. The parking garage echoes with footsteps that aren't mine. I grip my phone tighter, its screen illuminating a message I've read 20 times. Level P3, space 23. The same spot where David confronted me 3 years ago. They're both waiting. Mia perched on the hood of her luxury car, Ryan standing beside her with his arms crossed. The security camera above them is dark. Of course. Dramatic choice of location, I say, stopping just out of reach. We thought it was fitting. Mia's smile is razor sharp. Given the history. Ryan holds up a USB drive. Complete copy of the security footage from that night. The real footage, not the edited version you submitted to the police. My throat tightens. You're bluffing. The camera caught everything, Sutton. His voice cracks. The argument about the missing millions, the push, the way you watched him fall. He was stealing from us. He was exposing your fraud, Mia cuts in, just like we're about to do. A door slams somewhere above us. Footsteps echo. My hand inches toward my purse, toward the gun inside. Don't, Ryan warns. Emma's already at the police station with copies of everything. The betrayal hits like a physical blow. Emma wouldn't. She did, after I showed her the truth. He steps forward. It's over, Sutton. The carefully constructed lie you've been living, it ends tonight. My phone buzzes. A news alert. Breaking, new evidence in tech entrepreneur's death. CEO under investigation. How does it feel? Mia slides off the car. Watching your perfect life collapse? That's what you did to us. Destroyed my career, Ryan's reputation. After you destroyed my marriage. Your marriage? She laughs. You destroyed that yourself. All those nights working late, building your empire on stolen money and lies. Ryan was just collateral damage in your grand ambition. Like David? Ryan adds quietly. The garage feels smaller suddenly, the shadows deeper. I hear Emma's voice in my head. It's not too late to make different choices. But it is. It has been since that night with David. What do you want? My voice sounds foreign, desperate. A confession. Ryan holds up his phone, recording. The truth about David, about the company's finances, about everything. Or the footage goes public in 10 minutes. Mia checks her watch. Tick-tock. Another set of footsteps echoes through the garage, multiple sets, getting closer. Time's up, I say, reaching for my purse. Don't. Ryan lunges forward. Everything happens at once. My purse drops, spilling contents across the concrete. Mia screams. Ryan grabs my arm, and through the chaos, a familiar voice. Sutton, stop! Emma emerges from the shadows, Lucas beside her. Behind them, police officers move into position. You brought the police? Mia backs away. No, Emma says. I brought help, because this needs to end before someone else gets hurt. Lucas steps forward, hands raised. Sutton, listen to me. Whatever happened with David. Shut up! My voice echoes off concrete walls. All of you, just shut up! My phone lights up again. Another news alert. Then another. The story's breaking. Everything I built, everything I protected, crumbling in real time. It wasn't supposed to be like this, I whisper. No, Emma agrees, moving closer. But it's not too late to tell the truth. I look at them all. Ryan, who I loved and lost. Mia, whose betrayal started this spiral. Emma, trying to save me from myself. Lucas, who saw this coming but couldn't stop it. The truth. Such a simple word for such a complicated thing. My phone buzzes one final time. A message from David's number. Time's up. But it's not David. It never was. The number traces back to Ryan's phone. his final manipulation, his way of pushing me toward this moment. Okay, I say quietly. You want the truth? About David? About everything? Emma steps forward, hope in her eyes. Yes. I straighten my spine, smooth my skirt. CEO to the end. Then you should know. A gunshot echoes through the garage, and everything goes dark. The fluorescent lights of the hospital room buzz like angry wasps. My shoulder throbs where the bullet grazed me, but it's nothing compared to the pain of seeing David sitting in the chair beside my bed. You're supposed to be dead, I whisper. He looks older, thinner, but unmistakably alive. Disappointed? Before I can respond, Emma appears in the doorway, followed by Lucas. Their faces are masks of concern and something else. Resignation. You knew, I say to Emma, all this time? I found him 6 months ago. She won't meet my eyes. Living in Vancouver under a new name, he told me everything. Not everything. David leans forward. You never told them about the second set of books, did you, Sutton? About how you were the one embezzling funds, not me. The heart monitor betrays my spike in anxiety. You were going to destroy everything we built. I was going to expose your fraud. His calm facade cracks. You weren't just cooking the books. You were stealing from our investors, our employees. I had proof. So you faked your death? My laugh sounds hysterical. Let me think I'd killed you? You tried to kill me. He touches his temple where a scar disappears into his hairline. The fall should have done it. When it didn't, I saw an opportunity to gather evidence, to watch you dig your own grave. The door opens again. Ryan and Mia enter, followed by 2 police detectives. The shooting wasn't random, Ryan says quietly. It was a warning shot from David's security team to stop you from running. My world narrows to pinpoints of clarity. David alive, Emma's betrayal, Ryan and Mia's manipulation, all of it orchestrated, an elaborate trap 3 years in the making. You used my marriage, I say to Mia. My trust? No, she steps forward. You destroyed your marriage yourself. Ryan came to me after finding discrepancies in the company finances. We needed to get close enough to prove what David had suspected. The detective moves closer. Mrs. Chen, we have questions about the night of March 15th, 3 years ago. I want my lawyer. Your lawyer's already been arrested. David stands. The whole house of cards is falling, Sutton. The SEC is investigating. The board has called an emergency meeting. It's over. Nothing's over. I reach for my phone, but Emma holds it up. Looking for this? I already disabled the dead man's switch you set up. The files you were going to release about Mia and Ryan? Deleted. My last leverage? Gone. I close my eyes, seeing the empire I built crumbling around me. Why now? Because of what you did to Ryan, David says. Using our old playbook against innocent people? That crossed a line. Innocent? I look at Ryan, at Mia. They betrayed me. To expose a murderer, Ryan counters. Everything else, the affair, the social media drama, it was staged to push you into making mistakes. And it worked. The detective steps forward with handcuffs. Mrs. Chen, you're under arrest for attempted murder, fraud. Wait. Emma moves to my bedside. There's another way. Tell the truth, Sutton. All of it. Help the investigation. Maybe then... Maybe what? I go to prison for slightly less time? I laugh, but it comes out as a sob. You were supposed to be on my side. I am. That's why I helped stop you before you killed someone else. The truth hits harder than the bullet. I've lost everything. My company, my freedom, my sister's loyalty. Even my revenge was just another manipulation. Fine. I hold out my wrists. You want the truth? About the fraud? About David? About everything? They all lean in. David, Emma, Ryan, Mia, the detectives, waiting for confession or justification or perhaps just an ending to this 3-year game. I look at each of them, these players in my tragedy. The truth is, I'd do it all again. Because none of you understand what it takes to build something from nothing, to protect it at any cost. The handcuffs click shut. That's where you're wrong, David says quietly. We understood perfectly. That's why we had to stop you. As they lead me out, Emma touches my arm one last time. Was it worth it, all this revenge? I don't answer, but in the reflection of the hospital window, I finally see myself clearly. Not a victim, not a hero, but something far more dangerous. A monster of my own making. The prison visiting room smells like industrial cleaner and stale coffee. Emma sits across from me, her fingers tracing patterns on the metal table between us. Neither of us has spoken for 5 minutes. The board approved the merger, she finally says. David's running things now. I nod, unsurprised. My empire, built from nothing, now belongs to the man I tried to kill. Poetic justice. Ryan and Mia broke up, she continues. Turns out their relationship wasn't quite as fake as they claimed. Real feelings developing during a long con? I almost smile. How inconvenient. Lucas asked about you. My therapist? The one who helped set me up? He was trying to prevent exactly this. Emma gestures at my prison uniform. We all were. The guard shifts in the corner, checking his watch. Our time is running out. Why are you here, Emma? She pulls an envelope from her bag. They found this in David's old office, behind a loose panel. She slides it across the table. It's the original contract, the one that proves he was embezzling funds before you ever touched the books. My hands shake as I open it. The evidence that could have saved me, hidden away all this time. Does anyone else know? No, and it doesn't matter now. The statute of limitations expired last month. Of course it did. Another perfect move in David's perfect game. What do you want me to do with this? Nothing. Emma takes the envelope back. I just wanted you to know that you weren't completely wrong about David, about the company. You were just wrong about how to handle it. The guard steps forward. Time's up. I stand, but Emma grabs my hand. I found Mom's old journals, the ones from when Dad left. She wrote about revenge, too, about making him pay. But in the end, she chose to let go, to build something new instead. And look how well that turned out. I pull away. She died alone. No, she died at peace. There's a difference. As the guard leads me back to my cell, I think about peace, about revenge, about the thin line between justice and vengeance. In my cell, a letter waits on my bunk. Mia's handwriting. I almost throw it away, but something stops me. I loved him, she writes. Maybe not at first, when it was just about exposing you. But I loved Ryan, and now I've lost him too. So I guess we're even. We both lost everything we tried to protect. Below her signature is a P.S. David's not as clean as he pretends. The new books don't quite balance either. I read it 3 times before flushing it down the toilet. That night I dream of the parking garage, of David falling, of Emma's disappointment, of Ryan's betrayal, of Mia's triumph turned to ashes. But mostly, I dream of balance sheets, of numbers that don't quite add up, of patterns hidden in plain sight. My lawyer visits the next morning. They're offering a deal. Testify about the original fraud, serve 5 years instead of 15. Tell them no. Sutton. Tell them I'll wait. I press my palm against the visiting room glass. Some games take time to play out. He sighs, gathering his papers. You're still thinking about revenge? No. I smile, thinking of Mia's letter, of Emma's revelation, of David's imperfect books. I'm thinking about justice, the slow kind. Because here's what they all forgot. I built an empire once. I can build another. And this time, I'll do it right. Not for revenge, not for power, for the truth. Back in my cell, I start writing. Not a confession, not an apology, but a map, a plan, a future. Because Emma was wrong about one thing. Mom didn't die at peace. She died with a secret smile and a hidden account in the Caymans that Dad never found. Some legacies aren't about revenge, they're about patience. And I've got nothing but time. The guard calls lights out. In the darkness, I trace numbers on my wall, building invisible empires, waiting for David's perfect game to show its flaws. After all, the best revenge isn't served cold, it's served balanced, to the penny.
The first time I realized my brother had stolen from me, I was 8 years old. It was a painting of our family dog, Max, that I'd spent weeks perfecting. Nathan had scribbled his name over mine and presented it to our mom as his own work. 24 years later, history was repeating itself. But this time, the stakes were much higher. I'm Lila, and I was staring at an advance copy of my brother's soon-to-be-released autobiography, Innovation Through Adversity. The familiar words jumped off the page, stabbing at my heart with each sentence I read. These weren't just similar ideas. They were my exact words, lifted directly from the business strategy documents I'd drafted over the past 5 years. "Holy shit," Sam whispered, leaning over my shoulder. "Isn't this the exact framework you showed me last year? The one about sustainable urban development?" My hands trembled as I flipped through the pages. "Not just that, look at this." I pointed to a paragraph about revolutionizing community spaces. "This is word for word from my proposal to the city council, the one they rejected because I lacked experience." Sam grabbed the book and started reading aloud. "The key to urban renewal lies not in demolition and reconstruction, but in reimagining existing spaces as living, breathing ecosystems." He looked up at me. "Layla, these are literally your words from your TED Talk submission." I sank into my office chair, my mind racing back through years of coincidences where Nathan had somehow always been one step ahead of me, presenting my ideas as his own. The childhood painting was just the beginning. There was the short story in high school that won him first prize, the business concept in college that earned him a prestigious internship, and now this, a complete appropriation of my life's work. My phone buzzed. It was Nathan. "Hey sis, did you get the advance copy I sent? Can't wait to hear what you think." "Don't respond," Sam advised, placing a hand on my shoulder. "Not yet. We need to think this through." I stood up and paced the room, my anger building with each step. He's going to be on Good Morning America next week. The book comes out in 3 days. He's already got speaking engagements lined up at major conferences. "Then we have work to do," Sam said, pulling out his laptop. "Where are your original documents?" I pulled open my filing cabinet and retrieved a thick folder. "Everything's here, every draft, every email, every timestamp. I've always been careful about documentation, ever since that painting incident." "Smart girl," Sam nodded, starting to scan the papers. "We should also reach out to Serenity at the Daily Post. Remember her from the charity gala? She's been looking for a breakthrough story." My phone buzzed again. This time it was my mother. "Sweetheart, isn't your brother's book amazing? He's finally living up to his potential. You must be so proud." I threw the phone onto my desk, fighting back tears of frustration. "You know what's ironic? He dedicated the book to me. To my sister Layla, my constant inspiration. He actually had the nerve to thank me for inspiring him." Sam looked up from the documents. "Layla, this isn't just plagiarism. This is fraud. He's built an entire false narrative around your work. We have everything we need to expose him." I walked to the window, watching the city lights flicker in the evening darkness. "He's my brother, Sam. This will destroy him. And what he's doing isn't destroying you." Sam stood beside me. "Think about all the opportunities you've lost because he kept stealing your thunder. Think about all the people who could have benefited from your ideas if they'd known their true source." My phone buzzed one more time. A notification from Publishers Weekly. Nathan Duncan's Innovation Through Adversity, predicted to debut at the #1 on bestseller list. Something snapped inside me. I turned to Sam, my decision made. "You're right. Get Serenity on the phone. It's time everyone knew the truth." Sam was already dialing. "What's the plan?" I picked up Nathan's book, running my finger over the glossy cover with his smiling face. "First, we gather every piece of evidence. Then, we wait for the perfect moment. Nathan always loved being the center of attention. Let's make sure his book launch is one no one will ever forget." "Are you sure about this?" Sam asked, his finger hovering over the call button. I thought about that little girl with the dog painting, about all the times I'd stayed silent, about all the dreams I'd watched my brother claim as his own. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. It's time to take back my story. The next morning, I sat across from Serenity at a quiet cafe, watching her face as she flipped through my evidence folder. Her eyes widened with each page turn, occasionally glancing up at me in disbelief. She paused, holding up one of my original drafts. This is dated 3 years before your brother even started writing his book. Keep going, I said, sliding her my laptop. There's more. She opened my email archives, scrolling through hundreds of messages between me and various city planners, investors, and community leaders. All of them contained detailed discussions of the very initiatives Nathan now claimed as his own. Your brother's either very brave or very stupid, Serenity muttered, taking notes. Did he really think you wouldn't have proof? Before I could answer, my phone lit up with my mother's face. I hesitated before answering. Layla, darling, are you coming to Nathan's book reading tomorrow night? He specifically asked for you to be there. I caught Serenity's eye as she mouthed, "Go," and nodded vigorously. Of course, Mom. Wouldn't miss it. Wonderful. He's so nervous about it. You know how he gets with public speaking. Having his big sister there will mean the world to him. The irony made me want to scream. Instead, I kept my voice steady. Yeah, I know exactly how he gets. After hanging up, Serenity leaned forward. This is perfect. The book reading gives us a chance to gather more evidence. If he's reading directly from passages you wrote, we can record it, I finished her thought. But we need more than just my word against his. Leave that to me, Serenity said, packing up her notes. I'm meeting someone this afternoon who might be interested in this story. Tyron Ward. He's been Nathan's friend since college. I remembered Tyron, always slightly uncomfortable at family gatherings, like he knew something wasn't quite right. You think he'll talk? He reached out to me last week with concerns about inconsistencies in Nathan's story. He just didn't know what those inconsistencies meant until now. Back at my apartment, I dug through my old storage boxes, looking for anything else that might help. Under a stack of college notebooks, I found a photo that made my chest tight. Nathan and me at his high school graduation, his arm around my shoulders, both of us smiling. Mom had taken it right after he'd won the school's entrepreneurship contest with my business plan. You okay? Sam's voice came from the doorway. He'd been helping me search through old files all afternoon. Found another one, I said, holding up a notebook. The original drafts of the community garden project. Look at the date, Sam whistled low. 6 years ago, way before Nathan's revolutionary idea for urban farming. My phone buzzed with a text from Serenity. Just met with Tyron, he's in. Says he has emails that prove Nathan asked for your old business plans for research. Meeting him tomorrow morning. It's really happening, isn't it? I said, more to myself than Sam. You can still back out, Sam reminded me. Family is complicated. I thought about all the family dinners where Mom had gushed about Nathan's latest achievement while I sat quietly, knowing the truth. About Dad before he passed, telling me to let Nathan have his moment when he won that contest with my work. Family is complicated, I agreed, but the truth is simple. My phone buzzed again. Nathan this time. Can't wait to see you at the reading tomorrow. Got a special surprise planned. Love you, sis. Special surprise? Sam raised an eyebrow. Knowing Nathan, he's probably planning to publicly thank me for being his inspiration, I said bitterly. He's always been good at hiding his lies in plain sight. I spent the next hour picking out my outfit for the reading. Something professional, but understated. No need to draw attention away from the star of the show. Not yet, anyway. Serenity called, just as I was hanging up my chosen blazer. Tyron came through big time. He has screenshots of Nathan asking specifically for your TED Talk materials. Says he needs to fact-check something. Date stamp shows it was 2 weeks before he submitted his book manuscript. I sat on my bed, suddenly exhausted. What if this destroys my family, Serenity? Honey, she said gently, your brother already did that when he stole your life's work. You're just bringing the truth to light. After we hung up, I stared at my reflection in the mirror, practicing my calm, supportive sister smile for tomorrow's reading. It had to be perfect, natural, the same smile I'd worn for years while watching my brother take credit for my ideas. But this time would be different. This time, I had proof. My phone lit up with one final message from Nathan. Picked out the perfect passage to read tomorrow. It's the one about turning setbacks into stepping stones. You're going to love it. I knew exactly which passage he meant. I'd written it the day after Dad's funeral. Tomorrow couldn't come soon enough. The bookstore was packed. I arrived early and slipped into a seat near the back, watching the crowd file in. Nathan stood near the podium, chatting with fans and signing advance copies. He was wearing the blue tie Dad had given him for his college graduation. Your brother seems nervous, Tyron whispered, sliding into the seat next to me. We'd arranged to meet here rather than be seen together earlier. He's been checking his phone every 2 minutes. He always gets nervous before stealing someone else's spotlight, I muttered. Tyron shifted uncomfortably. Listen, Layla, there's something else you should know. Last week, Nathan asked me to backdate some documents, said it was for legal purposes. My stomach dropped. What kind of documents? Project proposals, business plans, dated from 5 years ago. He said he needed proof of original authorship for his publisher's legal team. Before I could respond, Mom appeared, beaming with pride. Layla, sweetie, come sit up front with the family. I caught Tyron's eye as I stood. He nodded slightly, phone ready to record. The front row felt like a hot seat. Nathan spotted me and waved enthusiastically, then turned to the crowd. Before we begin, I want to thank my amazing sister, Layla. She's always been my biggest supporter. The audience applauded. I forced a smile, feeling Serenity's presence somewhere in the crowd, ready with her notepad. Nathan opened his book, and I recognized the page immediately. This passage is particularly special to me, he began. I wrote it during one of the darkest moments of my life. My hands clenched as he read my words about Dad's death, about turning grief into motivation. I'd written those words through tears, alone in my apartment the night after the funeral. Now Nathan was performing them like an actor, his voice catching at all the right moments. My phone vibrated. A message from Sam. Serenity just got confirmation from your old writing professor. She has your original draft from the grief counseling workshop. Nathan finished reading to enthusiastic applause. During the Q&A session, a young woman stood up. Your insights about community development are revolutionary. How did you come up with these concepts? I watched my brother's face carefully as he answered. Well, it's funny you should ask. These ideas actually came to me during a very challenging time. That's not true, a voice called out. All heads turned to see Tyron standing. Nathan, tell them where those ideas really came from. The room went silent. Nathan's smile faltered for just a second before he recovered. Ty, always the joker. But seriously, folks, show them the emails. Nathan, Tyron continued. The ones where you asked for Layla's project files. Mom turned to me, confusion written across her face. Layla, what's going on? Nathan's publicist quickly stepped in, trying to move on to another question. But the damage was done. I could see people in the audience whispering, some pulling out their phones. Maybe we should address this. Serenity stood up, press badge visible. Mr. Duncan, would you care to comment on the striking similarities between your book and your sister's documented work from the past 5 years? Nathan's face went pale. He looked at me, really looked at me for the first time that evening. Lila, what did you do? What did I do? I stood up slowly. I kept records, Nathan. Every single time you took credit for my work, I kept proof. Just like that painting of Max when we were kids. The audience was completely silent now, watching the drama unfold. Mom's hand was over her mouth. You don't understand, Nathan said quickly. I was going to tell everyone eventually. I was going to share the success with you. That's what the surprise was going to be. I was going to announce you as my co-author. Co-author? I laughed bitterly. Of my own work? His publicist was frantically making calls. Serenity's photographer was snapping pictures. But all I could focus on was Mom's face as she finally began to understand. "Nathan," she whispered, "please tell me this isn't true." He opened his mouth to respond, but his phone chimed loudly in the silence. He glanced at it, and I saw the moment he realized what was happening. It was a notification from the Daily Post's website, where Serenity's first article had just gone live. Best-selling author accused of plagiarizing sister's work. "I can explain everything," Nathan started, but people were already standing up, murmuring, some heading for the exits. I should have felt triumphant. Instead, watching my brother's carefully constructed facade crumble, I just felt tired. But there was no going back now. The truth was out there, spreading through social media, impossible to contain. And we were only just getting started. The morning after the book reading, I met Judah at his office. He'd been my mentor since I started my career, and right now, I needed his perspective more than ever. "Your phone's been buzzing non-stop since I walked in," he noted, pouring us both coffee. "I'm guessing the story's gaining traction." I showed him my screen. Hundreds of notifications, missed calls from Mom, messages from old colleagues. Serenity's article has over 50,000 shares. Nathan's publisher has temporarily suspended book sales, pending an investigation. "And how are you holding up?" Before I could answer, my phone lit up with Mom's face again. This time, I answered. "How could you do this to your brother?" Her voice was raw. "In public? In front of everyone? How could he steal my entire life's work?" I shot back. "In public? In front of everyone? He made one mistake." "One mistake?" I stood up, pacing Judah's office. "Mom, he's been doing this since we were children. Remember that painting of Max? That was different. You were kids. What about my business plan in high school? My college thesis? Every single idea I've ever had that he claimed as his own? Were those all different too?" The line went quiet for a moment. "He's your brother, Layla. Family forgives. Like you forgave Dad when he missed Nathan's graduation for a business trip. That's not fair." "No. What's not fair is that you've always had different rules for us. Nathan gets forgiveness. I get lectures about family loyalty." After she hung up, Judah cleared his throat. "Your father once told me something interesting about Nathan. This caught me off guard. Dad talked to you about Nathan. It was about 6 months before he passed. Nathan had just won that startup competition with what I now realize was your urban development proposal. Your father knew Layla. He knew it was your work." My coffee went cold in my hands. "What?" "He said he was worried about Nathan's pattern of taking credit for others' work. He wanted to address it, but then he got sick." Judah leaned forward. "He left me a letter for you. I've been waiting for the right time to share it." He pulled an envelope from his desk drawer. The handwriting was unmistakably Dad's. "My dearest Layla," it began. "If you're reading this, it means I never found the courage to have this conversation in person. I owe you an apology. I've watched you dim your light to let your brother shine, and I've been too weak to stop it. I told myself I was protecting him, but in doing so, I failed to protect you." The words blurred as tears filled my eyes. My phone buzzed again. A text from Nathan. "Please call off your journalist friend. Mom's devastated. Haven't we done enough damage to this family?" "Still trying to make you the villain," Judah observed, reading over my shoulder. "Classic manipulation." "Maybe he's right," I whispered. "Maybe this is too much damage. Read the rest of the letter." I wiped my eyes and continued. "You have a gift, Layla. Your ideas could change the world if you'd stop letting others claim them as their own. Including your brother. Especially your brother. Don't let my failure to address this become your reason to stay silent. Love, Dad." My phone chimed with an email notification. It was from Nathan's publisher, requesting a meeting to discuss the situation. Below that was a message from Serenity. "Nathan's trying to spin this. He's calling a press conference for tomorrow. We need to move fast." "What would you tell a client in this situation?" Judah asked, taking the letter back carefully. to stand their ground, to protect their intellectual property, to what? To stop apologizing for telling the truth. He smiled. Exactly. And what would your father want you to do? Before I could answer, another text came through, this time from Mom. Nathan's invited us all to dinner tonight. Please come. We need to fix this as a family. Judah raised an eyebrow. Interesting timing. Right before his press conference. He wants to control the narrative, I realized. He's going to try to convince everyone it was all a misunderstanding. So what are you going to do? I thought about Dad's letter, about all the years of staying quiet, of letting Nathan take what was mine, about Mom's selective memory and Nathan's careful manipulations. I'm going to dinner, I said, standing up. But first, I'm going to call Serenity. If Nathan wants to handle this as a family, fine. But this time, we're doing it my way. Judah nodded approvingly. Your father would be proud. My phone buzzed one final time. A text from Sam. Whatever you decide about dinner, I've got your back. And Layla, Dad was right. It's time to stop dimming your light. I took a deep breath and dialed Serenity's number. The truth had started this fire. Now it was time to let it burn. Mom's house smelled like lasagna, her go-to peace offering since we were kids. Nathan was already there when I arrived, sitting at the kitchen counter like nothing had happened, like he hadn't spent years stealing my work. Layla, he stood up, arms open for a hug. Can we please talk about this rationally? I stepped back. Sure, let's talk rationally about how you plagiarized my entire portfolio. Ladies, Mom interrupted, setting down the lasagna. Let's eat first. Everything's better after food. We sat in tense silence, the only sound the scraping of forks against plates. My phone vibrated in my pocket, Serenity confirming she had everything ready for tomorrow. So, Nathan cleared his throat. I've been thinking about how to make this right. What if we co-author the next book? Split everything 50-50? I nearly choked on my water. Are you serious? It's a generous offer, Mom chimed in. A fresh start. Generous? I put down my fork. He stole my work, published it under his name, and now he's offering to let me help him steal more. That's not what Nathan started. I have a better idea. I cut him off, pulling out my laptop. Why don't we look at these? I opened my email and turned the screen toward them. These are the original drafts of everything in your book, with timestamps. And these, I clicked to another folder, are the emails you sent asking for my input on your projects. Nathan's face went pale. Those were private conversations. So was my grief about Dad, but you had no problem publishing that. Mom's hand trembled as she reached for her wine glass. Nathan, what is she talking about? Show her, I demanded. Show her the passage you read yesterday. Tell her when I really wrote it. Nathan looked trapped. I may have borrowed some concepts. Borrowed, I laughed. Is that what we're calling theft now? My phone buzzed again. A text from Sam. Serenity's article just dropped. Check Twitter. I pulled up the story. Exclusive. Inside the Duncan literary scandal. New evidence reveals years of systematic plagiarism. Nathan's phone started ringing. Then Mom's, then mine. What did you do? Nathan whispered, scrolling through his notifications. I told the truth. Something you should try sometime. Mom was reading the article, her face growing paler with each scroll. Nathan, these documents, these dates. It's not what it looks like, he started, but Mom held up her hand. Stop. Her voice was different, harder than I'd ever heard it. Just stop lying. The doorbell rang. We all froze. That would be Serenity, I said, standing up. I invited her to join us. Hope you don't mind, Mom. She has some questions about Nathan's creative process. You can't do this. Nathan grabbed my arm. This is family. I pulled away. Family doesn't steal from family. Serenity entered with her notepad ready. Mr. Duncan, care to comment on the evidence suggesting you've been appropriating your sister's work since high school? This interview is over. He stood up, heading for the door. Running away, I called after him. That's new. Usually you just take credit for someone else's solution. He spun around, face red. You want to know why I did it? Because you were always Dad's favorite, the smart one, the creative one, the one with all the potential. I just wanted— What? I demanded. What did you want? To make him proud, just once. The silence that followed was deafening. Mom had tears streaming down her face. Dad was proud of you, I said quietly. He just wanted you to be proud of yourself, your real self, not some version built on my work. Nathan slumped against the wall. The publisher's going to want their advance back. My reputation is exactly what you earned, Serenity finished, still taking notes. My phone buzzed one more time. A message from Judah. Just saw the article. Your father would be proud, not of Nathan's actions, but of your courage to stand up for yourself. Nathan, Mom finally spoke. I think you should leave. We all need time. As he walked out, shoulders slumped, I felt a strange mix of victory and sadness. This wasn't how I'd imagined our family dinner going when we were kids, playing house and sharing dreams. Ms. Duncan, Serenity turned to me. Would you like to make a statement about your plans moving forward? I looked at the half-eaten lasagna, at Mom, wiping her tears, at the empty chair where my brother had sat. Yes, I said, straightening my shoulders. I'm reclaiming my voice, and this time I'm not letting anyone silence it. The truth was out, the damage was done, and tomorrow's press conference would be very different from what Nathan had planned. Sometimes I realized you have to break things to fix them properly. The hotel conference room buzzed with anticipation. Journalists filled every seat, cameras flashing as Nathan approached the podium. I sat in the back row between Sam and Serenity, watching my brother straighten his tie, Dad's tie, one last time. Thank you all for coming, Nathan began, his voice shakier than usual. I'd like to address the recent allegations regarding my book. Where's your sister? Someone called out. Is she here? Nathan's eyes scanned the room, landing on me for a brief moment before darting away. Actually, that's what I wanted to discuss. There's been a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding about plagiarism. Another reporter stood up. We have evidence spanning decades. If you'll let me explain. Nathan. A familiar voice cut through the chaos. Mom stood up from her seat in the front row. I hadn't even noticed her come in. Tell the truth, please, just once. The room went silent. Nathan gripped the podium, knuckles white. Mom, My phone vibrated. A text from Tyron. Check your email, now. I opened it to find dozens of forwarded messages. Conversations between Nathan and his publisher from months ago. My heart stopped as I read them. The publisher knew, I whispered to Serenity. They knew the work was stolen and published it anyway. Serenity's eyes widened as she read over my shoulder. She stood up immediately. Mr. Duncan, would you care to comment on these emails, showing your publisher was aware of the plagiarism before the book's release? The room erupted. Nathan's publicist rushed to the podium, but it was too late. Reporters were already pulling up the forwarded emails on their phones. Is this why the press conference was called? Someone shouted. To get ahead of this story. Nathan looked like he might faint. I can explain. Let me. I stood up, making my way to the podium. The room fell silent again. Those are my words, in that book. My ideas, my experiences, even my grief over our father's death. And now we know the publisher was complicit in stealing them. Lila, please, Nathan whispered, as I reached the podium. No, I said firmly. You've done enough talking for both of us. Turning to the crowd, I continued. For years, I watched my brother take credit for my work. I stayed quiet because that's what family does, right? We protect each other, but I've realized something. By protecting him, I was hurting myself. And worse, I was denying the world the truth. Mom was crying silently in the front row. Nathan had sunk into a chair, head in his hands. The publisher will be receiving a cease and desist letter from my lawyer this afternoon, I announced. As for my brother, I turned to look at him. I forgive you, Nathan. Not for your sake, but for mine. I'm done carrying the weight of your lies. Breaking news. A reporter in the front row read from his phone. Publisher announces immediate recall of innovation through adversity amid plagiarism scandal. Nathan's publicist was frantically making calls. Cameras were flashing non-stop, but all I could focus on was Mom, who had walked up to the podium and taken my hand. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. "I should have seen it, should have stopped it." "Ms. Duncan," a reporter called out, "what are your plans now?" Before I could answer, Serenity stood up. "Actually, I can help with that. The Daily Post would like to announce a new collaboration with Layla Duncan, a series of articles showcasing her original work and innovations, starting with the true story behind the stolen book." Nathan finally looked up, his face ashen. "You're going to write about all of it?" "Every word," I confirmed. "But this time, under my name." My phone buzzed again. A message from Judah. "Your father's letter is trending online. People are calling it a wake-up call about family dynamics and intellectual theft." The press conference dissolved into chaos after that. Nathan was escorted out by his publicist. Mom stayed by my side as reporters shouted questions. Through it all, I felt strangely calm. Later, as Sam drove me home, he asked, "Was it worth it?" I thought about the years of silence, the stolen ideas, the painful family dinners. Then I thought about tomorrow's headline, already approved by Serenity: "Innovation Through Truth, the real story behind the year's biggest literary scandal." "Truth is always worth it," I replied, "even when it hurts." My phone lit up with a final text from Nathan. "I'm sorry, not for getting caught, for everything. I hope someday you'll believe that." I didn't respond. Some conversations couldn't happen through text messages. Some healing couldn't happen overnight. But for the first time in years, I felt like I could finally breathe. The truth was out there, and it was written in my own words. 2 weeks after the press conference, I sat in Serenity's office, reviewing the final draft of our first article. The headline read, "The Innovation Behind the Deception, a Sister's Story." "The response to the preview has been overwhelming," Serenity said, scrolling through her analytics. "Over 100,000 pre-orders for the digital edition." My phone buzzed, another interview request, this time from a major morning show. I'd already done 3 this week. "People keep asking about Nathan," I sighed. "They want the dramatic sibling showdown." "And what do you tell them?" Before I could answer, Mom walked in, carrying 2 cups of coffee. She'd been showing up like this lately, trying to rebuild our relationship one caffeine fix at a time. "I told you I'd meet you for lunch," I said, taking the coffee. "I know, but I just got off the phone with Nathan's therapist." She sat down, hands shaking slightly. "He's been diagnosed with imposter syndrome. Apparently, it's been affecting him since childhood." "That explains things," I said, "but it doesn't excuse them." "No," Mom agreed, surprising me. "It doesn't." Serenity's phone rang. The publisher's legal team, wanting to settle. She stepped out to take the call, leaving Mom and me alone. "I found this while cleaning out the attic." Mom pulled something from her bag. It was the painting of Max, the one Nathan had claimed as his own all those years ago. My signature was still visible under his scribbled name. "You kept it?" "Your father did. He wrote something on the back." I turned it over, in Dad's handwriting. "Layla's first masterpiece. Proof that talent can't be stolen, only borrowed." "He knew," Mom whispered. "All along he knew." The door burst open, and Sam rushed in. "You need to see this. Nathan just went live on social media." We huddled around his phone. Nathan sat in what looked like a hotel room, looking exhausted. "I've been trying to figure out how to say this," he began. "The truth is, I've spent my whole life trying to be someone I'm not. I stole my sister's work because I couldn't bear the thought of being ordinary. Layla was always the extraordinary one." Mom grabbed my hand as he continued. "I'm checking myself into a treatment facility," Nathan announced. "And I'm returning every penny from the book sales. Not to the publisher, they knew what they were doing, but to my sister. It's her work. It always was." Comments flooded the live stream, some supportive, others angry, all of them intense. To Layla, Nathan looked directly at the camera. I know you might be watching this. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm not even asking for understanding. I just want you to know that Dad was right about you. You are extraordinary, and I'm sorry I tried to dim your light instead of finding my own. The stream ended. The room was silent. Well, serenity had returned. That's going to change the narrative. My phone exploded with notifications, journalists wanting comments, social media going crazy. But one message stood out, from Judah. Your father once told me his biggest regret was not helping Nathan find his own path. Maybe now he finally will. What are you thinking? Sam asked quietly. I looked at the painting of Max, at Dad's message on the back. I'm thinking about paths and choices, and how sometimes the hardest person to forgive isn't the one who wronged you, but yourself for letting it happen. Layla, Mom started, but I held up my hand. I need to make a call. I stepped into the hallway and dialed Nathan's number. It went to voicemail. Hey, I said, voice steady. I saw your video, and I want you to know something. You're not ordinary, Nathan. You never were. You just couldn't see your own light because you were too busy trying to steal mine. Get the help you need, find your voice. And when you're ready, maybe we can both learn to be extraordinary in our own ways. Back in the office, Serenity was putting the finishing touches on tomorrow's article. Should we mention Nathan's announcement? She asked. Yes, I decided, but not as the focus. This story isn't about his confession or my revenge. It's about finding your voice and having the courage to use it. Even when it costs you everything, Mom asked softly. I looked at the painting again, at the two signatures layered on top of each other, a perfect metaphor for our relationship. Sometimes, I said, losing everything is the only way to find what you're really worth. Serenity nodded and typed the final line of the article. In the end, innovation isn't just about new ideas. It's about having the courage to claim them as your own. The autumn breeze carried the scent of coffee from the new community center's cafe, my cafe, built exactly as I'd envisioned it in those original plans Nathan had claimed. The grand opening ceremony was about to begin, and the plaza was packed with familiar faces. Nervous? Sam asked, adjusting the microphone stand. Terrified, I admitted. But a good terrified. Serenity approached with her camera crew. Ready when you are. We're streaming live. I scanned the crowd, spotting Mom in the front row. Next to her was an empty seat, Nathan's seat. He'd been released from the treatment facility last week, but I hadn't heard from him. It's time, Judah touched my shoulder gently. Show them what real innovation looks like. I stepped up to the podium, my heart pounding. Welcome to The Voice, a space designed not just for community gathering, but for storytelling, for truth-telling, for finding and sharing your authentic voice. Movement at the back of the crowd caught my eye. Nathan, looking thinner but clearer somehow, slipped into his seat beside Mom. Many of you know my story, I continued, but today isn't about the past. It's about what we build from our experiences, how we transform pain into purpose. The crowd applauded as I cut the ribbon, officially opening the center's doors. Inside, the walls were lined with local artists' work, each piece tagged with not just the artist's name, but their story. This is incredible, Serenity whispered, panning her camera around the space. Every detail exactly as you described in those original documents. Not exactly, I smiled. I made one change. I led them to the central wall, where a familiar painting hung, the one of Max, with both signatures still visible. Beneath it, a plaque read, "Every voice matters, every story deserves to be heard, even the complicated ones." Nathan approached slowly, staring at the painting. You kept it. Some stories need to be remembered, I said. Even the painful ones. Layla, I know, I cut him off. But right now, there's something else you need to see. I guided him to a small office at the back of the center. The nameplate on the door read, Nathan Duncan, Creative Writing Instructor. His eyes widened. What is this? You're good with words, Nathan. Always have been. Maybe it's time you use that talent to help others find their voice instead of taking theirs. After everything I did, because of everything you did, I corrected. Who better to teach about the power of authentic voice than someone who lost and found their own? Mom appeared behind us, tears in her eyes. Your father would be so proud of both of you. Ms. Duncan, a young reporter, called out, "What inspired you to offer your brother this position?" Before I could answer, Nathan stepped forward. "My sister taught me that real innovation isn't about being the loudest voice in the room. It's about helping every voice be heard." The reporter's camera flashed, capturing the moment. Nathan and me, standing together, neither overshadowing the other. Later, as the crowd mingled and explored the center, Judah handed me an envelope. "Your father left one more letter. He asked me to give it to you when you finally built this place." Inside was a single sentence. Innovation isn't just about new ideas. It's about having the heart to share them, the strength to protect them, and the wisdom to know when to forgive those who tried to take them. So, Sam appeared with coffee. What's next? I looked around at my vision made real. The cafe buzzing with conversation, the workshop spaces filled with aspiring creators, Nathan leading his first writing group, Mom proudly giving tours. Next, I smiled. We listen, we create, we tell our stories, and we tell them in our own voices, Nathan added, joining us. In our own voices, I agreed. My phone buzzed with a notification. Serenity's live coverage was trending. Innovation through healing. How one family turned betrayal into brotherhood. "You know," Nathan said quietly, "I never actually apologized, not properly." "No," I agreed, "you didn't. I'm sorry, Layla. Not just for what I took, but for making you feel like you had to dim your light for mine to shine." I touched the painting of Max, our tangled signatures, a reminder of how far we'd come. Maybe that's the real innovation, learning how to let all lights shine, without extinguishing any of them. Outside, the autumn breeze still carried the scent of coffee, but now it carried something else too. The sound of voices, clear and true and unafraid, each telling their own story, in their own way, in their own time. And finally, after all these years, mine was among them.
The sound of canvas ripping echoes through my studio like a gunshot in the night. For a moment, I freeze at the doorway, my hands still on the light switch, watching my brother methodically destroy everything I've created for tomorrow's gallery opening. "Ryan," I whisper, but he doesn't stop. His expensive suit jacket lies discarded on my work table, his crisp white sleeves rolled up as he tears through another painting. My paintings. 6 months of work, scattered in shreds across the hardwood floor. I'm Elizabeth, and this is the moment I decide my brother needs to pay for everything he's done. "What the hell are you doing?" My voice comes out stronger now, anger replacing shock. Ryan turns, and there's something in his eyes I've never seen before, something wild and desperate. "Protecting you," he says, reaching for another canvas. "This little art hobby of yours? It needs to stop. You're embarrassing the family." I lunge forward, grabbing his arm. "Get out!" He shakes me off like I'm nothing. I stumble backward, catching myself against the wall. "You don't get it, Liz. Mom and Dad have plans for you. The firm needs both of us. Your name's already on the letterhead." I never agreed to join the firm. My throat tightens as I survey the carnage. 3 years of art school, countless nights perfecting my technique, all destroyed because my golden boy brother decided to play God with my life. You don't have a choice. Ryan picks up my favorite piece, a portrait of our grandmother Eleanor that took me 2 months to complete. The Turner family has expectations. "Put it down," he smirks, that same smirk he's worn since childhood whenever he got his way. "Or what?" The canvas tears with a sound like breaking glass. I launch myself at him, fists flying, but he's bigger, stronger. He catches my wrists, pushing me away with enough force to send me sprawling. "Still the same weak little sister," he says, straightening his tie. "Always needing protection from your own bad decisions." "What's going on here?" We both freeze. Grandmother Eleanor stands in the doorway, her silk robe wrapped tight around her small frame. Her eyes scan the destruction, taking in every detail with laser precision. Ryan was just leaving, I say, getting to my feet. Was he? Eleanor's voice could freeze hell. It looks more like Ryan was destroying his sister's life's work the night before her first gallery showing. Ryan's facade cracks slightly. Grandmother, I can explain. I sincerely doubt that. Eleanor steps into the studio, her slippers crunching on broken frames. Your father may indulge this behavior, but I won't. Not anymore. This isn't about Dad, Ryan protests, but we all know it is. It's always been about Dad, about living up to the Turner name, about maintaining the perfect family image at any cost. Eleanor turns to me. Elizabeth, go to bed. We'll deal with this in the morning. Then to Ryan. You and I need to have a long overdue conversation about consequences. I leave them there, climbing the stairs to my bedroom in our grandmother's sprawling house. My hands shake as I sit on the edge of my bed, staring at nothing. Tomorrow's gallery opening is ruined. My chance to prove myself, destroyed. But something else is rising from the ashes of my art. Something cold and calculating. Ryan has always been the favorite, the chosen one. He's spent years undermining me, belittling my choices, making sure I stay in his shadow. But tonight, he's made a fatal mistake. He's shown his true colors to the one person whose opinion actually matters in this family. I pull out my phone and start typing. Samantha, I need your help. Remember that thing we discussed about Ryan's business dealings? It's time. My brother thinks he's protected me from making a mistake. Instead, he's just given me the perfect reason to destroy everything he holds dear. And I'm going to enjoy every moment of it. Grandmother Eleanor's dining room feels like a courtroom the next morning. My parents sit rigid in their usual spots, while Ryan slouches in his chair, tie loosened, dark circles under his eyes. The remains of my ruined artwork mock me from the studio next door. This isn't necessary, my father says, checking his Rolex. We can handle this internally. Eleanor's silver spoon clinks against her teacup. Like you handled it when Ryan forged Elizabeth's signature on those internship rejection letters? My head snaps up. He did what? Grandmother, Ryan warns, but Eleanor continues. 3 prestigious art internships, all accepted you, Elizabeth. But someone, her eyes pierce Ryan, made sure you never knew. The room spins. Those rejections had crushed me, made me question everything about my art. I grip the edge of the table, knuckles white. When? Last summer, Eleanor says. I discovered the truth when the Hartley Gallery called, asking why you never responded to their second offer. My mother reaches for Ryan's hand. He was protecting the family name. He was protecting himself. I cut in, my voice sharp enough to make her flinch. God forbid anyone succeed at something he can't control. Ryan straightens, adjusting his collar. You want to talk about protection? Tell them about your little investigation into my business dealings, Liz. Tell them how you've been digging through my files with your friend Samantha. My father's face darkens. Is this true? What's true, Eleanor interrupts, is that I'm making changes to my will this afternoon. She sets down her teacup with finality. Elizabeth will receive full ownership of this house and my art collection. Additionally, I'm establishing a trust to fund her artistic endeavors. The silence is deafening. Ryan's face goes from red to white. Mother, my father starts, but Eleanor raises her hand. I'm not finished. Ryan's monthly allowance ends today. He can survive on his salary from the firm, assuming there's nothing in his business dealings that might jeopardize that position. Ryan's chair scrapes back. This is ridiculous. Dad, are you going to let her? Sit down, Eleanor commands. For once, Ryan obeys. Elizabeth, I've arranged for a showing of your work next month at the Hartley Gallery. They're quite eager to make up for lost opportunities. My mother's perfectly manicured nails drum against the table. Eleanor, you're overreacting. Ryan has always had the family's best interests. At heart? I laugh, the sound bitter even to my ears. Is that why he destroyed my entire collection? Because he cares so much? You can paint more pictures, Ryan snaps. I'm trying to preserve our legacy. Your legacy, I correct him. I never wanted it. Eleanor stands, her small frame somehow filling the room. The discussion is over. Mark, Karen, I suggest you consider whose legacy you're really protecting. Ryan. She pauses, something like sadness crossing her face. You have until the end of the month to move out of the guest house. As my parents hurry after Eleanor, probably to plead Ryan's case, my brother remains seated, staring at his reflection in the polished table. For a moment, I see something crack in his perfect facade. You won't win this, he says quietly. Dad won't let you destroy everything we've built. I lean closer, voice low. You did that yourself, brother dear. I'm just making sure everyone sees it. His phone buzzes, probably Vivian, wondering why he never came home last night. As he reaches for it, I notice his hands shaking slightly. By the way, I add, standing, those business dealings you mentioned? Samantha's not the only one who's been looking into them. The SEC finds anonymous tips very interesting these days. Ryan's head snaps up, real fear flickering in his eyes. You wouldn't. Why not? You taught me everything I know about protection. I head for the door, pausing in the doorway. Oh, and Ryan, next time you want to destroy someone's art, make sure they don't have backup files of everything. The Hartley showing is going to be digital prints. Bigger, better, and completely destruction-proof. As I walk away, I hear something crash behind me. Probably another family heirloom meeting my brother's rage. But for the first time since last night, I smile. Sometimes karma needs a little push, and I'm done playing the victim in Ryan's carefully curated world. Let him rage. His perfect facade is cracking, and I plan to be there when it finally shatters. Samantha slides a manila folder across her desk, her expression grim. You need to see this, Liz. Inside are bank statements, transaction records, and emails, all bearing Ryan's digital fingerprints. My hands start shaking as I process what I'm seeing. The numbers don't lie. My perfect brother has been embezzling from our father's firm for years. There's more, Samantha says, pulling up something on her computer. Remember that charity foundation he started last year? The one Dad bragged about at every family dinner? The screen shows a complex web of shell companies, all leading back to offshore accounts. My stomach turns. It's a front. A very sophisticated one. Samantha leans back in her chair. He's been laundering money through fake art purchases. Ironic, considering how he feels about your career choice. A knock at her office door makes us both jump. Vivian stands there, Ryan's girlfriend, her designer handbag clutched tight against her chest. Her mascara is smeared. I need to talk to Elizabeth, she says. Alone. Samantha gives me a warning look, but I nod. She gathers her things and leaves, closing the door behind her. Ryan's losing it, Vivian says the moment we're alone. He came home last night ranting about Eleanor's will, about you ruining everything. He was different, scary different. I keep my face neutral. And you're telling me this because I found these. She pulls out her phone, showing me photos of documents. He's been forging Eleanor's signature on legal documents, something about reverse mortgages on her properties. My blood runs cold. When? Last month, before she changed her will. Vivian's hands tremble. He said it was insurance, in case she ever turned against him. I thought he was just being careful. The pieces clicked together. Ryan wasn't just protecting his image. He was preparing for war. And now that Eleanor's changed her will, he's backed into a corner. Why are you showing me this? Vivian wipes her eyes. Because I'm pregnant, and I need to know what kind of man is really going to be my child's father. The revelation hits like a punch to the gut. This changes everything. Or should it? Ryan's actions have already destroyed so much. Would exposing him now hurt more than just him? My phone buzzes. A text from Eleanor. Come home now. Emergency. I have to go, I tell Vivian. But we're not done talking about this. The drive home feels endless. When I arrive, police cars line the driveway. My father stands on the front steps, face ashen. Ryan is nowhere in sight. What happened? Your grandmother, he says, voice hollow. Someone broke into her study. All her legal documents, her computer. Everything's gone. They found her unconscious. The world tilts sideways. Is she? She's alive, but the doctors aren't sure. He trails off, running a hand through his gray hair. They're calling it a robbery gone wrong. But we both know better. This has Ryan written all over it. Desperate, cornered Ryan, willing to hurt his own grandmother to protect his secrets. Inside, crime scene technicians dust for prints. I climb the stairs to Eleanor's study, stopping short at the doorway. The place is ransacked, but something's off. The destruction looks calculated. Only certain drawers have been opened, specific files taken. My mother appears beside me, her perfect makeup unable to hide her distress. The detective has questions about Ryan's whereabouts last night. Do you really want those answers, Mom? She flinches. He couldn't destroy my art? Forge rejection letters? Embezzle from Dad's firm? Her head snaps up. What are you talking about? I pull out my phone, forwarding her the evidence Samantha collected. Your perfect son isn't so perfect. And now grandmother might die because of his desperation to keep that image intact. Elizabeth. No. I cut her off. No more excuses. No more protection. Ryan needs to face what he's done. As if summoned by his name, my brother appears at the end of the hallway. He looks immaculate as always, but there's something wild in his eyes. Family meeting, he announces with an unnatural calm. Everyone in the dining room, now. I meet his gaze, seeing the cornered animal beneath his polished exterior. He knows I know, and he's about to do something desperate. The question is, am I ready for what comes next? The hospital corridor stretches endless and white. Eleanor lies behind one of these doors, machines keeping her stable while the police search for answers I already have. My phone buzzes. Another message from Vivian about the pregnancy. I silence it. Miss Turner? A detective approaches, notebook in hand. We found something interesting in your grandmother's study. I follow him to a small conference room where surveillance photos spread across the table. They show Ryan meeting with men I don't recognize, exchanging envelopes, shaking hands in shadowy parking lots. These were hidden in a false bottom drawer, the detective says. Along with this. He slides over a USB drive. Eleanor was investigating him? Looks that way. We're more interested in why someone would attack an elderly woman over some photos. My father appears in the doorway, his lawyer mask firmly in place. Elizabeth won't be answering any more questions without representation. Dad? Now Elizabeth. In the hallway, he grips my arm tight enough to hurt. Whatever you think you know about your brother, keep it to yourself. I wrench away. Eleanor's in a coma because of him. You don't know that. The embezzlement, the money laundering, the forged documents. I know everything, Dad. And so did she. His face hardens. You've always been jealous of your brother's success. Success? I laugh, sharp and bitter. Is that what we're calling fraud now? Elizabeth. My mother appears, perfectly composed, despite everything. Ryan needs us right now. He's struggling. Struggling with what? Getting caught? She flinches. He's at the house. Says he won't speak to anyone but you. Of course he does. Ryan always did love an audience for his performances. But something in my mother's eyes makes me pause. What aren't you telling me? Just be careful, she whispers. He's not himself. I find Ryan in Eleanor's study, standing exactly where she fell. He's still wearing the same suit from yesterday, now wrinkled and stained. Empty bottles litter the desk. Vivian told you. It's not a question. About the baby? Yes. He picks up one of Eleanor's crystal paperweights, turning it over in his hands. Did she tell you it might not be mine? That stops me cold. What? She's been sleeping with Dad's partner, for months. He laughs, hollow and sharp. Funny, right? The perfect son, the golden child, can't even keep his girlfriend faithful. Ryan, you know what's really funny? He hurls the paperweight against the wall. It shatters, sending crystals skittering across the floor. Eleanor knew. She knew everything. The embezzlement, Vivian's affair, all of it. She was gathering evidence, building a case. To protect the family. To destroy me! He whirls on me, eyes wild. She was going to expose everything unless I signed over my shares in the firm. To you. The pieces click together. That's why you attacked her. I didn't mean to. His voice cracks. I just wanted the evidence gone. She fought back. She wasn't supposed to fight back. My phone buzzes again. A text from Samantha. SEC agents just arrived at the firm. Ryan's accounts are frozen. They're coming for you, I say quietly. I know. He straightens his tie, a reflexive gesture so familiar it hurts. That's why you're going to help me leave the country. What? You have access to Eleanor's accounts now. Wire me enough to disappear, and I'll leave everything else to you. The house, the firm shares, all of it. And if I don't? His smile is razor sharp. Then I tell the police who really forged those documents in Eleanor's name. I still have your practice sheets. The weight of his words hits me like a physical blow. He planned this. All of it. The attack on Eleanor, the evidence, the setup. It was all to force my hand. You're bluffing. Sour, am I? He pulls out his phone, showing me photos of papers covered in Eleanor's signature, in my handwriting. You're not the only one who's been gathering evidence, sister dear. Outside, sirens wail in the distance, growing closer. Ryan holds out his hand. Tick-tock, Liz. What's it going to be? Your revenge or your freedom? The Hartley Gallery buzzes with opening night energy, but I barely notice the crowds admiring my digital prints. My phone keeps lighting up with hospital updates about Eleanor, each one a reminder of what Ryan's desperation has cost us. Elizabeth Turner? A woman in a sharp suit approaches, badge visible on her hip. Agent Martinez, SEC, do you have a moment? Before I can answer, Samantha materializes beside me. My client isn't answering questions without legal representation. Client? I turn to her, but she squeezes my arm in warning. I'm not here about your brother's fraud, Martinez says quietly. I'm here about the wire transfers from your grandmother's accounts this morning. My stomach drops. What transfers? $3 million, moved through a series of offshore accounts. The authorization came from your IP address. Samantha's grip tightens. We're done here, but I'm already putting it together. Ryan's ultimatum, the forged signatures he threatened to pin on me, and now this. He's making good on his threat, but with a twist. He's framing me for both crimes. Miss Turner? A gallery assistant appears. There's a situation with one of your pieces. In the main exhibition hall, a crowd gathers around my centerpiece, the digital recreation of Eleanor's portrait. On the screen, the image glitches and transforms, revealing financial documents, bank statements, and emails. My evidence against Ryan, playing on loop for everyone to see. Quite a statement piece, Vivian says from behind me. She's wearing black, like she's already in mourning for her relationship with Ryan. He said you'd try something like this. I didn't. Save it. She hands me an envelope. Ryan wanted me to give you this. Said you'd understand when the time came. Inside is a single photograph. Me at Eleanor's desk the night before her attack, practicing her signature. But I know that's not what happened. I was never there. The image is doctored, but expertly, impossible to prove without the original. My phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. Check your email. You have 1 hour to transfer the remaining funds, or the police get everything. R. Elizabeth? My father pushes through the crowd. What the hell is this? The firm's clients are here. Dad, I can explain. No need. He holds up his phone, showing an email chain that seems to implicate me in both the fraud and Eleanor's attack. Ryan warned me you might try something like this. said you were jealous of his success, that you'd do anything to destroy him. And you believed him? I don't know what to believe anymore. He looks around at the displayed evidence, the gathering crowd, the approaching security guards. But this ends now. Either you fix this, or I'll have no choice but to let you face the consequences. Samantha pulls me aside, her voice low and urgent. We need to move fast. I have proof the transfers were initiated from Ryan's private server, not your IP address. And Vivian's willing to testify about the forged documents, the real ones, not these fakes. It won't matter, I say, watching Agent Martinez make calls in the corner. Ryan's planned for everything. He's making sure that even if he goes down, he's taking me with him. Then maybe it's time to let him. I turn to her. What? Your whole life you've played by his rules. Maybe winning isn't about beating him at his own game. Maybe it's about changing the game entirely. The gallery lights flicker, and suddenly, I'm staring at my digital prints, my art, my truth, my voice. Ryan tried to destroy my originals, but in doing so, he forced me to create something he can't touch. Something permanent. My phone buzzes again. A message from the hospital. Eleanor's awake. Miss Turner? Agent Martinez approaches again. We need your decision now. Are you going to cooperate with our investigation? I look at the photograph in my hand, then at my father's disappointed face, and finally at my art on the walls. Pieces that tell stories of broken trust and painful transformations. Ryan thinks he's backed me into a corner, but he's forgotten one thing. I'm not the same sister he used to push around. Actually, I say, I have something you need to see. But first, we need to visit my grandmother. Samantha smiles, already pulling out her phone to set things in motion. Because Ryan might be good at playing chess, but he's about to learn that sometimes the pieces refuse to play their assigned roles. And I'm done being his pawn. Eleanor's hospital room feels smaller with Ryan standing in the doorway. His suit is pristine again, his composure restored, while I'm still wearing my gallery opening dress, now wrinkled from hours of police questioning. You shouldn't be here, I say, moving closer to Eleanor's bed. Family meeting, remember? He steps inside, closing the door. Though I see you've brought some unexpected guests. He nods toward the hallway where Agent Martinez waits with Samantha. Eleanor's monitors beep steadily as she watches us, her eyes sharp despite the medication. She can't speak yet, but her hand tightens around mine. It's over, Ryan. I reach for the call button, but he's faster, snatching it away. Nothing's over until I say it is. He pulls out his phone. Did you know Dad's been recording our conversations? Every threat, every accusation you've made against me, all documented. Of course, the timestamps have been adjusted. My throat tightens. No one will believe. They already do. The SEC is investigating you, not me. The police have witness statements about your unstable behavior at the gallery. Even Vivian's prepared to testify that you've been obsessed with destroying me since childhood. You're lying. Am I? He shows me his screen. A video of me apparently threatening him in Eleanor's study, clearly edited from security footage. Technology's amazing these days, almost as good as your digital art. Eleanor makes a sound, trying to speak. Ryan moves to her other side. Don't strain yourself, grandmother. Elizabeth's actions have shocked us all. The door opens. Our parents enter, followed by Agent Martinez and 2 police officers. Elizabeth Turner, Martinez starts. We have a warrant for your arrest. What? I look at my father. Dad, you know this isn't... We found the original transfer documents. He cuts in, not meeting my eyes. And Eleanor's missing files. In your studio. Ryan planted them. He must have done it during the gallery opening. I turn to Samantha, but she's being held back by one of the officers, her legal protests ignored. You have the right to remain silent, Martinez begins, approaching with handcuffs. Wait! Eleanor's voice, weak but clear, stops everyone. Ryan did it. Ryan laughs softly. Grandmother, you're confused. The doctors said the medication might... Security, cameras. She points weakly at her bedside table. Pendant. I reach for her necklace, an antique locket I've never seen her without. It clicks open, revealing not photos, but a tiny USB drive. Ryan lunges for it, but I'm already backing away. You really think I wouldn't protect myself? Eleanor continues, stronger now. After what you did to Elizabeth's internships? Dad! Ryan turns desperate eyes to our father. She's clearly not thinking clearly. The footage is time-stamped, Eleanor says. Every meeting, every threat, including the night you attacked me. The room goes silent, except for the steady beep of monitors. I connect the USB to my phone, hands shaking. The video is crystal clear. Ryan and Eleanor's study, their argument, his push that sent her crashing into the desk. You didn't even check on me, Eleanor says, each word precise despite her weakness. Just took what you wanted and left me there. Agent Martinez steps forward, but Ryan's already moving. He grabs me, using my body as a shield as he backs toward the door. One more step, and I'll tell everyone what really happened to Mom's inheritance, he snarls. Every dirty secret this family's been hiding. Is that what you want, Dad? For everyone to know? I feel something press against my ribs, the sharp point of a letter opener from Eleanor's bedside table. When did he grab it? Ryan! Our mother pleads. Don't! Shut up! His hand shakes. All of you, just shut up. I had everything under control until you... He jerks me harder. Started playing artist instead of knowing your place. The letter opener digs deeper. One quick thrust, and it would pierce my heart. I meet Eleanor's eyes in the mirror across the room, seeing my own fear reflected there. But behind that fear is something else, a determination I inherited from her. You're right, Ryan, I say quietly. I never knew my place, because it wasn't where you put me. The monitors start beeping faster as Eleanor tries to sit up. Agent Martinez inches closer, and I realize that whatever happens next will change our family forever. The question is, who's going to bleed first? The letter opener slips from Ryan's hand as Agent Martinez tackles him. I stumble forward, catching myself on Eleanor's bed rail. In the chaos that follows, the handcuffs, the rights being read, our mother's quiet sobs, I notice something odd. Ryan's laughing. You still don't get it, do you? He looks past the officers to our father. Tell her, Dad. Tell her why you really let me destroy her art. Our father's face goes ash white. Ryan, don't! The foundation wasn't just for money laundering, Ryan continues, still eerily calm. It was to hide the real estate scheme, the one Dad started 20 years ago, with Mom's inheritance. Eleanor's monitors spike. Mark? Every penny, Ryan says. Gone before Elizabeth was even born. That's why he needed me to take over the firm, to keep the whole thing from collapsing. He turns to me. You were never the disappointment, Liz. You were the distraction. The room tilts sideways. I grip Eleanor's bed harder. Dad? I was protecting our family, he says quietly. Everything I did was fraud. Agent Martinez cuts in, and now we have confirmation. She signals to her partner. Mark Turner, you're under arrest. My mother moves between them. You can't. Our reputation. Your reputation? Eleanor's voice cracks like a whip. Karen, you knew? All this time? I knew he needed Ryan focused, she admits. Needed him to take over. Elizabeth's art. It was a liability, a distraction. Ryan was just doing what had to be done. The betrayal hits like a physical blow. Every destroyed canvas, every sabotaged opportunity. It wasn't just Ryan's jealousy. It was calculated, planned, encouraged. That's why you never stopped him, I whisper. Why you always looked away. Ryan's laughter turns bitter. The perfect son, doing exactly what Daddy wanted. Keeping the sister in line, protecting the family secrets, until Eleanor started changing the rules. You attacked me, Eleanor reminds him, because I discovered the truth. I attacked you because you were going to give everything to her. He lunges against the officer's grip. The one person who could destroy everything we built. Built on lies, I say, finally understanding. On my broken dreams. Your dreams? Ryan sneers. What about mine? Every move, every decision, all orchestrated to keep Dad's house of cards standing. At least you got to choose your cage. The officers move to take our father, but I step forward. Wait. I pull out my phone, showing the video from Eleanor's pendant. There's more than just the attack here, isn't there? More evidence? Ryan's smirk falters. Liz, years of recordings, Eleanor confirms. Every conversation, every scheme, including the real estate fraud. If I testify, I look at Agent Martinez, about everything. The art destruction, the forged rejections, all of it. What happens to my mother? Ryan starts struggling again. Don't you dare. Reduced charges, Martinez says, if she cooperates. My mother stares at me, really sees me, perhaps for the first time. Elizabeth, please. That's the difference between us, I tell Ryan. You destroyed art to keep secrets. I'm using it to expose truth. I turn to Martinez. I'll testify about everything. You'll destroy this family, Ryan warns. No, Eleanor says, reaching for my hand. She'll free it. As they lead Ryan and our father away, my mother sinks into a chair, broken. The perfect family facade finally shatters, leaving only truth in its wake. I never wanted this, she whispers. Neither did I. I move toward the door, where Samantha waits. But at least now we can build something real from the ruins. Eleanor's voice stops me. Elizabeth, the pendant, keep it. Let it remind you that truth, like art, finds its way to the light. I touch the locket now hanging around my neck, feeling its weight, the weight of evidence, of justice, of choices made and prices paid. Ryan chose to be our father's weapon. I'm choosing to be Eleanor's truth teller. The irony doesn't escape me. In the end, my art didn't just survive their destruction. It became the lens through which their whole carefully constructed world was exposed. Sometimes revenge isn't about destroying your enemies. Sometimes it's about bringing their darkness into the light and letting truth do the rest. The courtroom empties slowly after the sentencing. My father doesn't look back as they lead him away. Ryan stares straight ahead, his perfect posture finally broken. Only my mother lingers, clutching her designer handbag like a shield. Elizabeth, her voice catches. Please. I adjust Eleanor's pendant around my neck. The trust is set up for the baby. Vivian knows the terms. That's not what I know. I gather my papers, testimony, evidence, truth carved in black and white. But sometimes sorry isn't enough. At Eleanor's house, my house now, I find her in the studio, surrounded by half-finished paintings. She's stronger now, but something fragile lingers in her movements as she sorts through old photographs. Found something interesting? I ask. She holds up a yellowed envelope. Letters, from your grandfather to me. Her hands shake slightly. About your father when he was young. About choices I made. Inside are dozens of letters, dating back decades. One catches my eye. My dearest Eleanor, your decision to protect Mark from the consequences of his actions will shape not just his future, but generations to come. History repeats, Eleanor says quietly. I enabled your father the same way he enabled Ryan, the same way your mother enabled them both. And now? Now we break the cycle. She hands me a final document, transfer papers for the family firm. The board wants you to take over. Clean slate, new direction. I almost laugh. I'm not a businesswoman. No, you're an artist. Maybe that's exactly what the firm needs. Someone who sees truth instead of opportunity. My phone buzzes. Samantha, with updates about the gallery's upcoming show. My new series, Family Portraits in Truth and Shadow. The exhibition that will tell our story through art, not lies. Ryan asked to see you, Eleanor mentions, before they transfer him. I know. Will you go? I touch the pendant, feeling its weight. Some portraits are better left unpainted. The doorbell rings. My mother stands on the porch, holding a familiar box. My childhood art supplies, the ones she'd hidden away when Ryan first started pressuring me to focus on real work. "I saved them," she whispers. "All these years. I just couldn't watch you choose a harder path." "You chose the easy path, Mom. Look where it led." She sets the box down carefully. "I'm selling the house, moving somewhere smaller, starting over." "Good. Elizabeth!" She straightens, finding a shadow of her old strength. "I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but I hope someday you'll understand. We don't always recognize our cages until someone else breaks free." I leave the box on the porch as she walks away. Some gifts come too late to matter. In my studio, I begin a new piece. Not digital this time. Real paint, real canvas, real risk. Eleanor watches from the doorway as I work, neither of us speaking as the image emerges. A family portrait, but with all our shadows exposed, our thorns visible, our truths bleeding through carefully maintained facades. "You're using his old easel," she observes. Seemed fitting. The easel had been Ryan's first attempt at destroying my art years ago. I'd rebuilt it, stronger than before. Like me. "The baby's due next month," Eleanor says. "Vivian wants to name her Eleanor Elizabeth." My brush pauses. "Think she'll be different? Break the pattern?" "That depends." "On what?" "On whether we teach her to paint her own portraits instead of living in someone else's." I step back, studying my work. The canvas shows our family tree, but the branches are thorned vines, beautiful and dangerous. At the bottom, a new shoot grows away from the tangles, reaching toward clear sky. "You know," Eleanor says, "revenge isn't always about destruction. Sometimes it's about creation, building something new from the ashes of what others tried to burn." I add one final touch, a small pendant hanging from the youngest branch, catching light that seems to come from within. "Then let's create something worth inheriting," I say, and reach for a fresh canvas. Behind me, Eleanor smiles, and the morning light streams through windows that no longer hold shadows.